Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream, pre-stream. Congratulations for making it. We're so happy you're here. And a big old congratulations to Guthbrand over on Twitch there for our first comment of the day award. Oh, so glad you did it, Guthbrand. Your trophy's in the mail. All right, everybody. Well, we're about to get started with the show here. Lots of good updates. Again, the tech explosion continues. But I want to remind everybody, if you're not already doing it, you're going to want to follow us on multiple platforms. That includes subscribing to the youtube.com/Canary Cry Radio channel, twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio, and make sure to subscribe to the RSS feed on your favorite podcast player. Okay, folks, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, hit like. We'll use the algorithms to take over the world. Stay hydrated. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is February 15th, 2021, and this is episode 300. Woo! We did it, everybody. And today, synthetic sociopaths. And I'm not a synthetic sociopath, but I am your best buddy, Basil.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you're not.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast. Oh, this is Gonz, by the way. Welcome to the podcast where we praise Jesus while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And we made it, 300.
We did it.
Prepare for glory.
Oh, yeah, like the movie.
Like the movie.
You're going to do a big kick into a big hole.
Yeah, well, that's, the only part that really I wanted to quote from the movie. Otherwise, it's like, we will die in Hades and like all these really not so good lines.
Right.
But, 300.
That's the quote?
What? Yeah, yes. Prepare for glory. That's the quote.
Oh, got it.
Because otherwise, the other quotes are really, again, die in Hades. What else is there? There's like take no prisoners, whatever it is.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It's a little bit different of a vibe than we usually give off in this show.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We're happy to do it. And thank you for all the congratulations from the fans out there. It is surprising, for as long as we've been podcasting, for this to be the first time we've hit 300 episodes of something. I don't know. You just see podcasts out there. They're in the 1,500 range. Well, yeah. I guess that's specifically Joe Rogan, but it's not uncommon for a podcast to have over 1,000 episodes by now. But you know what? I think we're doing it faster than most. We're catching up for all the time that we've spent.
And that's just with Canary Cry News Talk.
That's right.
I believe there are over 1,000 videos on the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And between Canary Cry Radio, Canary Cry News Talk, we're in the upper hundreds.
Yeah. Joyspiracy theory. Yeah, we've certainly put out plenty of content over the years. But anyways, we're happy to be here. And thank you all for supporting us. And congratulations to the producers. If you're a producer of the show, there you go. You're producing a show that has 300 episodes. So congrats.
Yeah. We got some squires to thank later, too, which is fantastic.
That's right. Yes. As a reminder, if there was anybody else, you got about an hour until we get to thanking our producers. We had a couple squires come in, which was very exciting. And if you thought you missed your chance, you still have about an hour to do so. But as a quick reminder, before we get into the show here, just want to remind everybody to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
That's right. That way we can harness the power of the algorithms to take over the world. Yeah. And a quick reminder for those who have not entered the Canary Cry Silver giveaway for this month. You got a couple weeks left, but if you make a social media post with a call to action, the hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, and a link to an episode, you get entered into the Canary Cry Silver giveaway drawing. And every post you do those three things will get you an entry into the drawing. And at this point, I'm very happy people have been responding to the call. But still, as far as statistics go, if you wanted to get in on that and win a free 1 troy ounce of fine silver from producer Aaron Moffat, your stats are still pretty good. You got a pretty good chance of winning still compared to other drawings of a similar kind. So get out there and do those social posts, everybody. Okay, Gonzo, you ready for the Flippy update?
Let's do it.
Whee!
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. Okay, quick Flippy update today, folks. But if you're new to the show, let me learn you something. Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to discuss how the robots are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Today, Gons, it's just a really fast one. There's been a video floating around the Twitters and the social medias that's really starting to wake a lot of people up. I think this video in particular freaked out more people than maybe any other, viral robot video. This was, I'm taken from a tweet here from, who is this? Luca Fury. Yes.
Yeah, he's 31 years old, apparently 6'9". He's a Nephilim.
Oh, good.
No, I'm just kidding.
And the tweet says the Wynn, which is the Wynn, which is a casino, has some bizarre robotic dancing dogs roaming around the halls these days. And for those who are watching live, you get to see this video. If you're just listening, basically what it is a spot robot from Boston Dynamics, but it's painted gold instead of the regular yellow. It's wearing a big gold puffy jacket, has a bouncy pom-pom tail, like a poodle tail. The screen on the front of the robot has a dog's face, and it's basically they made it look like a Las Vegas style, I don't know, golden hip-hop dog, and it's walking around this casino, and it does this little dance, and it's surrounded by people. And the movements are eerily, I'm not going to say they're perfect for how an excited dog would act, but it is definitely the most impressive dog-like movements that we've seen from Spot or similar robotic dogs. And the interesting thing about this, there's a lot of, you look at the threads beneath this video, it's really, people are more freaked out about this robotic hip-hop dog dancing in a casino than I think any other video of robots we've seen recently. So it's waking a lot of people up, and that's good. And it's especially disturbing people that it's acting like a real dog. We've got some real dog lovers who are starting to join the battle against the robot rebellion.
There's a lot of violent responses to destroy these things.
It is really triggering people to want to act violently lash out against this robot dog. So there you go. There's not much more to say about it. Except for it's been pointed out by some people in the thread, but we all know this here. This is not just a cute little tourist attraction to try to, make a fun robot experience for the people at the casino. But indeed, you can guarantee that these dogs are equipped with all sort of security measures, if not just video and probably facial scanning for making sure people are wearing masks, compliance control, things like that. So there you go. We're dressing up. It's got this funny kind of twinge to it because yes, this robot dog is our overlord and is going to snitch on you if you're not wearing a mask or standing 6 feet away. But at least it's cute and can do a little dance, just how we like it.
I don't find it that cute. The backward bending knees is always just a creepy look, regardless of.
But that's dog's knees. Dog's knees bend backwards in the back.
Yeah, but it doesn't look creepy.
Okay. Yes, it is creepy, especially if you are aware of our impending robot apocalypse.
And coming from the Wynn Hotel and Casino, of course, not a surprise that it starts in Vegas, but Steve Wynn, I think he's a billionaire. Of course, he took over the Mirage on the Strip and the Bellagio. And in 2018, he actually resigned as the chairman of the Wynn Resort and as the financial chairman of the Republican National Committee over allegations of sexual misconduct. I don't know if you remember that. But yeah, he got Epsteined, and now they're like, well, you want to keep your life? Enter golden spot dog. Hip hop dog, yeah. Or else.
Dancing dog, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Well, that's all I got for the Flippy update. Just a quick one, but it was the robot video sweeping the nation.
Yeah, it's interesting how the general population starts catching up to stuff we've been talking about for years. It seems to be a theme.
Ahead of the curve.
And this is a story that I presented to you to present as a Flippy update, and you didn't run with it, which is fine, no big deal. The Business Journal, Fresno's first robot restaurant opened Saturday, which was a couple days ago. And, nothing new in terms of flipping burger kind of robot machine restaurant. This one happens to be a Chinese restaurant for Chinese food. So, and they're very, the guy who made it is keeping a lot of his cards close to his chest. He's not really revealing too much with it. But I thought it was interesting that they're pushing the whole idea of fast food and Chinese food in general. And I thought maybe, when I see two stories and they could connect in some way, some kind of weird, deep, like spiritual, we wrestle not against flesh and blood kind of way, I'm just going to run with it and throw it out there. This is not, there's no hard connections here. But I saw this story about the Chinese restaurant, opening, a robot Chinese restaurant opening. And then I saw this story that was reported by Zero Hedge and other outlets. Elderly Asians targeted in spate of vicious Bay Area attacks. Now, of course, Fresno and the Bay Area are, I think, 3 hours apart or something. So it's not, they're not like right next to each other. But considering the fact that a bunch of old Asian people in San Francisco are being targeted and attacked and there's like one person got hit by a flare gun in the head and
what?
Yeah, it's pretty intense. They're going after him.
That's crazy. Why is this? What is this connected to? Or do they know? I'm
not sure. The mainstream media is picking it up as Trump, the Trump regime created racism, and so. But of course, a lot of the people, the one person they got in jail or arrested or whatever, 28-year-old man, Yaha Muslim, charged with assault. A 91-year-old Asian American. He's a black guy, So
yeah, sure.
Of course, they're trying to blame. They try to blame the Trump thing, but then they're
well, it's those. See, that's the tricky part about it, Gons. It's not just the good old boy white Christian Americans who you got to watch out for. The real deviousness is the white nationalist black Muslims that are also trying to propagate the white nationalist worldview.
Yeah, well, either way, I thought maybe the old Asian people are getting scared, and so they're like, hey, release old robot restaurant.
Well, it is interesting too, the connection between specifically for the robot restaurant in America. We've seen this has happened quite a bit now, but mainly in Asia. There's been some smatterings of robot restaurants in the U.S. But in this case, with the pandemic responses and the mom and pop shops going out of business and things like that, in the past we've seen Flippy or automation come to chain restaurants for the most part. But this is an interesting case where this guy is starting a restaurant. It's basically a mom and pop Chinese restaurant, but equipping that with robotics, which is an interesting step towards food preparation automation being available not just to huge corporate food conglomerates, but to mom and pop shops. This could be an interesting answer to the small business crisis that's been created because of the response to the coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah, so just thought I'd throw that in there as sort of a quasi-Flippy update. I know that's your thing, but yeah.
Hey, this is my turf, man.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I welcome all sorts of I just love. I've got a complicated relationship with Flippy, and I love to share that with my friends and family.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. You want to do a really quick politics update?
Yeah, let's do it.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
That's right.
We will launch a new age.
This is coming from MSN.com. It's a CNN mirrored article, so it's a CNN article. And just for an update, in case you live under a rock, the headline is Republicans acquitted Trump again, but this time is different. Oh, buckle up, folks. Buckle up, because this time it's different. The former president, Donald Trump's second acquittal by the U.S. Senate proved the enduring power he holds over the Republican Party, with the results Saturday setting the dangerous precedent that even an autocratic leader who violates his oath of office can escape punishment if he bullies enough senators into standing by him. Again, there's this sort of obsession that the mainstream media has. They can't decide whether to label Trump as a useless, buffoonish child man with no power or an evil genius. They go back and forth on this, but in this case, we're going with the evil genius thing. His win came after a feeble defense by his lawyers that amounted to little more than gaslighting and a presentation of falsehoods. Are we going to say anything about that?
I mean, I think most people at this point realize that.
So this was a great one because the day that it happened, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Senate is pretty much split right down the middle for Democrats and Republicans, and I think they needed 2/3 of a majority to actually convict him of this. So they needed, I believe it was 17.
I think the Democrats have majority, though.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I've seen different stats. Can you look that up real quick? Just see what the actual numbers are. So anyways, the second that he got acquitted, an article came out by The Atlantic that was all about how bad Trump's lawyers were. And it's hilarious because it's like, Trump's lawyers are so bad that they won the case. And they only won because they're so bad at lawyering. Isn't that horrible? It's like, okay, I mean, I get you don't like them and you kind of have a narrative that you're sort of forced to pull, and we all understand that. But making the case that Trump's lawyers are so bad that they won the case is, again, this crazy doublespeak mind control that we're just used to now.
Okay, so here's the deal. So it's actually a 50-50 tie in the Senate.
That's what I thought, yeah.
But with the 50-50 tie in the Senate, the Constitution gives tie-breaking power to the vice president, therefore making it Democrat majority.
Got it. Okay. So yes, they have that. Got it. Oh, interesting. That's I'm glad we cleared that up. And of course, if you listen to some of the clips and interviews going around, I mean, it's known that the Democrats had doctored some evidence.
Yeah, they were the ones presenting
out on
falsehoods and gaslighting.
Yeah, and they were panicking so much that they in a surprise move, wanted to call witnesses, which was generally considered a bad idea, and yada, yada, yada. But let's keep going here. And it showed the fundamental power imbalance that is part of Trump's legacy in Washington. For 4 years, he abused the office of presidency with impunity and made the founders' insistence on co-equal branches of government look like a farce. Now, there was a little bit of a... When we first read this article, Guns, before the show, we read it once. And do you want to bring up a screenshot of that?
Yeah, I got a screenshot here where it says, for 4 years, he abused the office of the presidency without impunity and made the founders' instance on co-equal branches of government look like a farce.
And, that was interesting because, of course, impunity means being accepted from punishment, receiving no punishment. And so the article originally read, he abused the office of the presidency without impunity, which is a double negative, meaning that he was punished.
Right.
And we thought, oh, what an interesting thing for CNN to say, that Trump was punished for abusing the office. That seems a little out of character for them. And of course, 3 minutes later, they changed the article. Apparently they posted before having any editors read it. But so they fixed it. It says here, he abused the office of the presidency with impunity and made the founders' insistence on co-equal branches of government look like a farce. Again, no examples here, just sort of the general ramblings of the Orange Man bad. But Trump will also go down in history as a disgraced figure who escaped conviction on a technicality after a trial that undeniably proved that he endangered his own vice president, lawmakers in both parties, and scores of police officers as he sought to overturn the election result. Okay, so escaping this conviction on the technicality, what do you think the technicality was?
The facts?
No, the technicality was they didn't convict him. The vote did not go the way Democrats wanted it to go. So, that old technicality where, they actually have to vote on convicting him. If only it wasn't for that pesky little technicality where the votes didn't go the right way.
All of our tax dollars to this nonsense here. It really makes me upset. But go on. That's what's more upsetting about this than anything else is just taxpayer money. I mean, I posted a tweet the other day how, the U.S. federal government is $28 trillion in debt, but they're also like, oh yeah, that's it. But they're also like, pay your taxes. And of course, the reason why we're in so much debt is because they spend money on this kind of bread and circus nonsense.
Well, it's certainly.
By the way, I know I don't know if you want to keep reading this thing. I think we get the point, but
not too much. I mean, it's just more sort of erroneous Orange
dribble.
Man bad speak. Yeah.
Did you see what Jill Biden did to the lawn at the White House? Wasn't it spectacular with the hearts and the?
Oh, I did not see it. What did she do?
Oh, no, it was, let me pull it up now because now that we're talking about it, for Valentine's Day. I hope everybody had a great Valentine weekend. But yeah, it was the main story. Here it is. This is, I forgot that I'm using two different browsers, so I can't just move tabs. I have to.
Oh my gosh.
Do a little switcheroo thing.
Let's take a look at this. The First Lady's Valentine's Day message to the nation popping up on the White House front lawn.
Okay, yeah. Hold on, let me do that. Hopefully it doesn't autoplay again with Michael Strahan there. Yeah, so here it is. First Lady with Jill Biden.
Volcanoes.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just hearts, unity, kindness, healing, compassion, love, courage.
Oh, so she just put paper cut out
ginormous
hearts all over the lawn?
hearts. Yeah. And And there's video of the president and the first lady walking around. And
no, I did not see any
you didn't
of
see
this.
it? Okay, it's like a 10-minute video of them walking around, and it's kind of like, what are you guys doing? It looks like an old folks home, and
right,
and they're talking. Joe's telling a story about something or other. You know, it's just like what is going on? So anyway,
yeah, okay, well. At least she didn't dig up the rose garden and offend all the rose lovers in this country.
Yeah, but also all the stories about the dog, the White House dog. We all love dogs. Oh yes,
who pours the kibble? It's these nice little puff pieces that we've been that we're getting used to now.
Yeah. So anyway, it was just I don't know. The whole thing is it's almost like now that he's in, the Chinas. Is like, oh, Joe, why don't you go walk the lawn while we take over the country a little bit more? Anyway, go ahead. Are you going to read any more of this or?
No, I don't think so. It's just more nonsense, orange man bad nonsensicalities going on over there at CNN. But the point being that with the technicality that the votes, acquitted him, he has not been convicted of his impeachment, which I would say, I'm pretty sure we said back when this was first coming up that he would not be convicted. There's no possible way. There was a moment there where I thought it might happen when Republicans started flipping left and right, but it did not happen. So there you go. 2024, watch out.
The resurrection of Trump.
Orange man.
The new
Orange
age.
man back.
The Orange man back. All right. That would be hilarious if he changes the Republican Party to orange instead of red. And he just goes with that
his
whole
new
thing.
party, his Patriot Party.
Oh, right. What color is that going to be?
I'm sure it'll be orange. No,
White.
it'll be be red, white, and blue or something.
It'll be white. Purity.
Oh, got him.
All right. There's some crazy stuff going on apart from politics and Trump.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
This first one here, this is from scitechdaily.com. Unleashing the potential of the mind, controlling digital interfaces such as phones through brain signals. It's not something that would surprise any of us, but the technology is basically here. This is the story. Python, founded by Dexter Ang, MIT 05, enables people to control digital interfaces such as their phones through brain signals. Dexter Ang, 05 AF16, had been working as a high-frequency trader before he learned his mother had ALS. Over the next year, he watched her slowly lose the ability to walk, feed herself, and even click a mouse to read an ebook, one of her favorite activities. The progression was painful to watch, but what Ang couldn't accept was that his mother's physical condition could so negatively affect her interactions with the digital world. Quote, I didn't think there needed to be that connection between physical capability and digital capability, Ang recalls. The idea set Ang on a mission that would change his life. 10 years after graduating from MIT with a mechanical engineering degree, he returned to the institute to immerse himself in its works around the wearable technology, securing a co-founder and a business strategy along the way. Today, Ang is the CEO of Python Technology, a startup that uses neuromuscular sensors to help people interact with digital interfaces. Python's sensor sits on users' wrists like a watch to capture tiny movements of muscles and tendons as well as electrical signals from the brain. Python software processes those signals and controls the device they're being sent to, helping users do things like interact with apps on smartphones, manipulate objects in augmented reality, and communicate with robots and machines. Hundreds of people have used Python's technology through partnerships and multinational corporations, including Microsoft, Samsung, Mitsubishi, and Google. Helping people with disabilities remains a focus for the company, and Python is also working with medical organizations and nonprofits like the ALS Association. Quote, the implications of connecting the human body with digital systems and artificial intelligence are unimaginable, Ang said. We're in the very early innings, maybe the first inning of what neural interfaces are going to be and how they're going to transform everything in the world. And
wow, everything.
And if you're watching the video, there's a video here. I'm not going to play the audio, but there's a couple people. They got their wrist device on there, and there's somebody with an injury across the lake or something, and he's doing some little hand motions, and a couple drones pop up off of spot, and they move across the lake, and they detect where that injured person is. And then now they're directing the robot dog that's carrying some stuff to help assist this man who is injured. Well, and all of it with hand motions.
Yeah. So it's kind of one of these things where it's cool. It looks cool, actually. I mean, this video seems kind of cool. I like it. Maybe getting a spot and having 3 deployable drones off his back is fun enough. But they're using this. What is it? It's like a smartwatch, basically, to interact with technology that is right there within their fingers' range. He's got like a GPS tablet, and instead of touching the tablet and operating it that way, his finger is about a foot away from the tablet and just doing stuff on the tablet from a foot away. I don't understand what the point of this is.
Well, when you're eating Cheetos and you're out there, you don't want to get the Cheeto crumbs.
That's it. I think you figured it out. It's for when you've got Doritos dust on your fingers, and you don't want to smudge your iPad. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, the technology here, first commercial rollout coming at the end of the year, will be a touchless control system for phones, which will allow users in the Air Force to do things like interact with maps and acknowledge communications. Soon after that deployment, Python hopes to begin helping workers in factory floors improve productivity and reduce risk. Elon Musk, Neuralink mentioned. The other thing that's interesting too, Aang, the name Aang, A-N-G. Mm-hmm. Do you know of any TV shows or cartoons? The character named Aang?
Yeah, the Last Airbender.
That's right. The Avatar. Yeah. Yes. Controlling all of nature.
Oh,
I just thought that was kind of interesting too, if we're talking about quote unquote coincidences with this stuff.
Wow, so you can be an airbender just like Aang.
Yeah. There you go. You got a little blue arrow on your forehead, glowy eyes when you get mad, and yeah.
I loved that I don't know if it technically counts as an anime, but because they did a U.S. version that you would watch on what was it, Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, one of those things.
It's actually a U.S. made show. They just got a lot of influence from anime. So yeah,
you're right. It's an anime style U.S. show. But what was I going to say? I loved the show as a kid.
It's a good show.
I was a huge fan. Good show. I tried watching it again recently. It's definitely a show for children. Going back and trying to rewatch it is for, you got to be a little younger, I think, to appreciate it.
Yeah.
But okay, sounds good. There you go. Touchless control tech coming. So this is close to coming to market. This sounds like it was almost available.
End of the year. They said end of the year they're going to have commercial products for people and I think the military, I believe is what it said.
Classic.
Air Force.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about AI.
Artificial intelligence.
Let's do it. I'm going to come from Forbes.com here. The headline is, will artificial intelligence produce synthetic sociopaths? Well, will it? Gons? You tell me. Someday soon, computers may convincingly mimic human empathy. Will this lead to ethical artificial intelligence or synthetic sociopathy? Technologists and ethicists have started to explore the form and meaning of a Turing test for ethical AI, the original imitation game, Can Machines Think? 20th century British mathematician and cryptologist Alan Turing proposed a test for whether machines could think or at least exhibit intelligence, initially called the Imitation Game, with Benedict Cumberbatch. Did you see that movie?
No, but I know about it.
Yeah, Pretty good movie. Initially called the imitation game, one version of the test imagines that a human evaluator communicates in writing with a human participant and a computer designed to emulate human language and responses. In Turing's view, if the evaluator could not distinguish between the human and the computer might be said to think, or at least possess intelligence. Encouraged by the power and possibility of natural language programs and self-learning algorithms, technologists and ethicists have begun exploring whether machines might pass an ethical imitation game, where they can convincingly imitate the empathy necessary for ethical deliberation and decision-making. It is an axiom of systems analysis that the meaning of a system lies outside the system. Computer programs as systems remain bounded by their algorithms. They can describe what they do, but they cannot explain it. Nor can they consider why they do what they do, which is the crux of ethical and moral decision-making. Such programs also cannot innovate, where innovate means to step outside of their algorithmic boundaries. Show a self-learning program all Picasso blue period paintings, and the program might render a reasonable facsimile of a Picasso blue period painting, but the program will never produce cubism. Wow, a lot of kind of esoteric references going on here. So before attempting a program that simulates empathy, think about a person who lacks it. We call such person a sociopath. He or she can fake empathy, but only to serve his or her ends. Analogously, programs written to simulate empathy successfully will represent artificial sociopaths, faking empathy to further the ends of their programmers. Any form of deception violates deontological ethics. Man, they are really piling it on. Does such deception sound like progress? Algorithms run or guide much of our lives. For the sake of efficiency, we have removed the human element from much of commerce. Algorithms decide what advertisements we see online. They decide in the first instance or access to credit. They determine how, when, and on what terms we can transact, often adjusting pricing in light of our past purchasing behavior. I like how they just sneak this little paragraph in there. Now, of course, Canary Cry listeners are aware of this, but this is just a little paragraph to really show what kind of AI dystopia we're already living in.
Everybody loves waffles.
Yes, and connected to the advertising industry, of course. But more about that later. In the physical world, they direct our movements via automated traffic systems. To an increasing degree, the algorithms that drive national defense systems may decide peace or war. We cannot escape the ever-growing sophistication and reach of computerized systems, but might will never make right. Ethical AI does not represent a challenge for technologists so much as a dilemma for ethicists. Machines will do what they are told. Self-learning machines may find ways to do what they are told better than our human programmers could tell them. However, such machines will never comprehend why they do what they do. The why must come from the programmers or those who direct them. This places extraordinary power in such people's hands. Those pursuing ethical AI might therefore want to ask themselves not what they seek, nor how they might attain it, but why they want programs to simulate empathy. And they should ask themselves this not just in light of logic, but in light of human experience. And then the article is ended with hashtag right way to win, hashtag AI, hashtag artificial intelligence. What is the world coming to that we have to hashtag news articles? So
to
there
please
you go.
The AI.
Making a point and a distinction. Yeah, that's exactly right. A point and a distinction between robots that will show empathy to other humans and the fact that they could never feel empathy. And much like a sociopath, a human sociopath who is able to fake empathy, and they usually do that specifically to, gain something or to manipulate people. This seems to be exactly what will be happening with empathetic machines. Of course, as we've seen the automation in human experience, we've also followed the human-robot relationship, all these types of things. And, when you have robots working in the hospitality sector, of course, if you've got an angry customer, the robot must at least express empathy in order to get anywhere with an angry human being. But the fact that it will never actually feel empathy, or this is not there's no why behind this empathetic sort of external expression from a robot. Sums it up. All these robots are sociopaths or psychopaths.
Yeah, the mention of deontological ethics is concerned with what people do, not with the consequences of their actions.
Right.
It's duty-based ethics, basically. So, yeah, this is, I think, obviously, the points made in this article are, succinct, and they make sense that, hey, these artificial intelligences are only going to be mimicking what empathy and sympathy, all these things are.
Right.
And most of it comes from human direction. But here's what I'll say is that what we're experiencing now with culture, because I think more and more people in general that grow up that have grown up in the internet age and the internet era and the algorithmic thing, they are acting more and more sociopathic. And I'm guessing that's got something to do with all this AI and all this, algorithmic stuff in applications and commerce and everything else, shaping the way
algorithms are raising your children.
Exactly. And so I think that's why we're seeing all this craziness, cancel culture, all that stuff comes from a younger generation that grew up, not getting their ethics from parents per se, but more so deriving it from their applications, their apps, or YouTube algos, or Facebook algos, or whatever. And this is something as parents we need to be aware of, because obviously you want to raise your kids with instilling biblical ethics, not so much, Twitter or like TikTok ethics.
Algorithmic ethics.
Right. But I really do think that's the reason why we have this cancel culture thing going insane, and people thinking that, or younger people coming out of college and stuff, going into institutions like the New York Times or whatever, just news outlets, media, and are dictating how they ought to, because in their mind they're changing culture, for the better, and it's based on a faulty premise. It is a very sociopathic way of thinking, almost psychopathic in a way, and I really do think that has to do with this artificial intelligence already impacting the way we think as a culture and society. So,
especially in the context of AI in government, AI in policy creation, even AI. I mean, obviously, the thing with advertising is it's not just advertising. It's not some silly little side thing that you can ignore. Advertising and the machine learning and algorithms behind it literally dictate your entire experience online, and offline a lot of times, but definitely online. I'm always surprised that there's still people who think that when they go online, they're having a real sort of experience, or they're unaware that not just when you go on Facebook, but almost everywhere you go online, there is some sort of manipulation by algorithms to change your experience in one way or another. Usually that is towards, trying to give you little nudges to eventually, do your job as an effective economic unit, and buy something, or at least urge others to buy something. But this is a big part of our lives right now, and even more so in the future. But yeah, when we come to a place where we're going to be wondering, does this robot really care about me? Does this AI politician who is in charge of my county or my state, does he really care? Or is he just programmed to look like he cares?
Yeah. And it creates an existential crisis too within people. Because if you're acting if you show all the behavioral elements of a caring person, you still can't necessarily read what's going on in their heart.
Yeah. Well, that's where the psychopath thing comes in.
Yeah.
And especially in the context of AI and management. We've been following how artificial intelligence is being deployed in middle management, not just as some sort of repetitive task doing machine, but actually in decision-making roles over human beings. And I just want to touch on this little thing from BBC. Computer says go, taking orders from an AI boss. Dun,
Which,
dun, dun.
Yeah, it's troubling. Given that last article, a headline like this should be very troubling.
Yeah. If your first thought upon reading that sentence was, quote, well, it would be an improvement on my current one, you wouldn't be alone. After all, an artificial intelligence software system might be better able to organize the staff rotation. Are they trying to make rota a word?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Without
BBC.
Messing up your holidays.
Or maybe it's a UK thing.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've had a boss, so I'm not sure what rota means. But and getting some unbiased feedback from a line manager who can't be accused of having it in for you or of favoring other staff could make a pleasant change. However, for those of us who have seen the Terminator movies rather too often, the thought of a computer or robot bossing you around is also bound to raise fears that the machines are in danger of taking over.
Get to the car.
Get to the chopper. Yet this ignores the fact that we already spend a lot of time obeying machines, and we don't even think about it, let alone worry. So there you go. You get this nice little point. Don't worry. You've been obeying machines for a decade. Just let them be your boss.
I like how there's a picture here of Jeff Schwartz where they're about to talk about it in the article from Deloitte. And just the biggest smile. He's like, hey, how's it going, guys? We all obey the machine. Hey.
He's got a slight look of panic in his eyes, though. I feel like there's a Flippy arm holding a gun to his back.
You better smile.
Yes.
Human.
To show your human smile. Jeff Schwartz, a senior partner at accountancy group Deloitte and a global advisor on the future of work, points to a simple everyday machine that we all obey unthinkingly. Quote, a traffic light used to be a job where there used to be a person who would stand there directing the cars, he says. But
glory days.
Yes, those were the days, the 1890s.
What? No. Wasn't that
Clearly,
long ago,
that is
was
now
it?
a machine and is getting smarter. It was a long time ago.
I know it was
exactly.
a long time
look it
ago.
Up. When was the? You can look it up. When was the first man-powered stoplight? Quote, but very clearly that is now a machine and it is getting smarter. They are now putting AI into traffic lights so they can best respond to traffic levels. So it seems we are perfectly willing to take orders from a machine in some clearly defined situations. What has increasingly happened in recent years, however, is that more of us are already being ordered around by computers at work, and experts say that this is only set to increase. Take taxi firm Uber. There isn't a man or woman in the office giving out the jobs to drivers. It is done automatically by the company's AI software system. Professor Thomas Kamoro-Premuzic, a business psychologist at University College London, says that while Uber does this to make its service as efficient as possible, there are wider benefits. Quote, Uber the app isn't biased in favor of someone. a customer or a driver, because they are good looking or went to the right school or they have the right accent or they dress well, he says. It is all about performance. You can see how technology could make the world of work more meritocratic by focusing more on substance and less on style. Quote, companies that do that will outperform their rivals and be better places to work. So having a computer boss you around is nothing to be worried about. Shivy Jervis, founder of business consultancy Futurescape 248, and a forecaster of future working trends, is far from convinced. Okay, we got someone on our side. Quote, the big caveat here is we need ethical oversight of this. There's that ethics problem again. Yep. If you have AI being the boss, a piece of software with decision-making ability, that for me is extremely worrying, and I think it could lead to quite a dystopian future. A system that doesn't have adequate ethical oversight, an actual human using their sense of judgment to be able to oversee what the system is deeming to be the supposed right conclusion, is extremely damaging, and that is the true threat. The true threat. Any info on those traffic lights?
Yeah, so traffic lights first came around, installed in the UK in 1869.
Booyah!
But I was talking about when the machines took over. So the machines didn't take over. I was talking
about when the humans were taking over.
Well, I mean, they didn't take over. They created it. And then it was the 1960s when the first mechanically driven traffic lights or programmed traffic lights started to show up. And by the late 1970s.
The 1960s, when a human traffic light operator could afford the American dream.
And then in the late 1970s, or by the late 1970s, it was pretty much commonplace to have automated traffic lights around.
There you go.
The country
there you go, folks. Don't say you never learned something on Canary Cry News Talk.
Facts.
The article continues. In the retail sector, Amazon increasingly, we already know that. Let me get down to however, one provider, Callminder, tells the BBC that because its entire call center monitoring system can analyze 100% of interactions, human supervisors can use that information to be better managers, and staff can be guided to perform better over time and deliver more effective outcomes for customers. As AI is increasingly used to monitor staff, a big problem could be whether it gets the final say on which of a firm's workers get let go in a downturn, says Miss Jervis. Quote, a human might actually favor the person who is a single parent with 2 children, depending on his or her monthly income, she says, or think this other person is well connected and will land on their feet. Quote, software, even if it is asked these questions, cannot hope to understand the answers in that way. And the article continues, but basically laying exactly that out. These ethical concerns of these synthetic psychopaths who are increasingly becoming in charge of human beings in the workplace. As the future, what's the word I'm looking for? They're trying to create a utopia of artificial intelligent leadership, and of course, we all know where this is going to end.
A dystopia. Yeah,
you got it.
Yeah. So there's a quote here from Edward Bernays. He's sort of the founding father of propaganda, pioneers of corporate PR and propaganda. He's got a famous quote here. Those who manipulate the unseen mechanisms of society constitute an invisible government, which is the ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested largely by men, and I would argue the algorithms therein we have never heard of. In almost every act of our lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires and write the algorithms that control the public mind. Edward Bernays, back in like the what is it? What year was this? Like the 30s or something when he said this?
Mm-hmm.
It's ahead of the game, man. Ahead of the game.
Yep, and there you go. I think you did a great translation there. You know, he's talking about men pulling strings, and now, I mean, it's similar to where there's still men writing code that you may not realize it. You may not consciously think about it, but pretty much every part of our lives is in one way or another steered by the algorithms of these puppet masters. But you all know that already.
Yeah, and the thing with technology advancing is that the puppeteer hasn't changed, but the puppet itself has just gotten more and more powerful and leverages a lot more influence into the minds of people and reach. And that's what technology and the internet and all that has done. Albeit there's a positive side to it, I guess, a silver lining with, you know, people being able to connect, for people like us to be able to share the gospel and stuff like that. But I think the powers that be and the spiritual wickedness, the Antichrist spirit, is certainly thriving in this time as we wait for the return of Jesus. You know, a lot of the prophecies, you know, we've talked about this before, but a lot of the prophecies makes a whole lot more sense in our generation, where just the technology around us just makes it so obvious, it seems. But
right.
On that account, we have a update about quantum computers.
Quantum computers.
It's our new quantum computer jingle that
quantum computers
beefed up thanks to Mr. Magoo's little quantum thing there. But this article is from defense1.com. The headline: Army creates quantum sensor that detects entire radio frequency spectrum. A new sensor that can detect the entire radio spectrum could play a big role in the future of electromagnetic warfare and communications. In January, David Meyer, Paul Kuntz, and Kevin Cox with the Army Research Lab published a new paper describing how they used atoms in a quantum state called the Rydberg state. Or is it Rydberg? I think it's Rydberg state, to detect electromagnetic emissions up to 20 gigahertz. That includes the frequencies that carry Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and other communication methods. In their experiment, a laser excites rubidium atoms in a vacuum chamber, forcing them into a Rydberg state. Quote, Rydberg states are highly sensitive to fluctuating electronic fields that make up the radio waves. So when radio waves are present, the quantum states themselves fluctuate. Cox told Defense One in an email, quote, the device collects input radio waves into a microwave circuit board and uses a special technique to hone in and boost the sensitivity to target regions of the radio frequency spectrum. End quote. A super-sensitive radio sensor could better help protect communications equipment from jamming or other forms of electromagnetic interference, or possibly help operators find devices using the radio spectrum to communicate. But the Army Research Lab sensor is still too big and power-hungry to be deployed, says Cox, so more work is needed to shrink it and improve performance. Interesting. It's like too powerful. They're like, we got to rein it in a little bit before we release it there. The sensor is an example of how quantum science can create new tools for the military. Perhaps the best known is quantum computing, which may one day permit vastly better communications, code making, and code breaking. In the nearer term are applications being studied by the Army Research Lab, including sensing and atomic clocks for precise navigation and timing without GPS. Cox said these applications take advantage of a different aspect of quantum science that he calls identicalness. Quote, quantum identicalness is the attribute that quantum particles are all fundamentally identical. This phenomenon enables quantum detectors and sensing devices like our Rydberg sensor, said Cox. The full frontier of quantum technology is still largely unexplored. We look forward to more paradigm-shifting breakthroughs in the near future.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
And the takeaway from this, and I've often said this as part of the prophecy of the mark of the beast. You go to Revelation 13 and you read through it. There's a part at the end here about the mark, and starting in verse 16. And the second beast required all people, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on the right hand or the forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And this idea, if you apply that to common sense here and how that looks in a world as today, it means like, because I hear a lot of people, oh, don't take the vaccine, don't take this, don't take that, because it's the mark. Well, the idea here is that if you try, you physically cannot buy or sell without the mark, which implies that there is surveillance at a level that is literally every atom is being watched somehow. And that you can be completely off grid, and you and I can try to barter, off grid in a mountain somewhere, and the beast system will be like, nope, you do not have the mark, and you will be killed. And of course, the verses before speaks to the stories we had earlier about ethics and AI and machines, and because there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of empathy from the beast image that it has breath. This image, it's an inanimate object that has what appears to be life, and it can judge you. It can kill you if you don't worship it. Sounds kind of sociopathic or psychopathic to me.
Right.
So, it's just a lot of prophetic overtones or undertones or both concerning the story. But yeah, the overall surveillance concept of the mark of the beast, that you can't buy or sell unless you have the mark. I don't think people recognize the total full spectrum surveillance dominance that is involved with something like this. And I feel like this type of technology, a quantum sensor that can detect entire radio frequency spectrums, that's
the
troubling.
Interesting thing about that, those who, for somebody who might not quite understand the intensity of this sensor detecting all radio frequencies.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
That's not, you think about like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you're talking to a walkie-talkie to your apocalypse buddy, and some other person has a walkie-talkie and they turn it to the same channel, they can listen to you. But this, all radio frequencies is not just simultaneously listening to every channel of the radio at the same time, but it's listening to all cell phone signals, all radio, all wireless communications, all satellite bandwidths, every microwave, every cell tower, everything being detected by one sensor. That really is this sort of crazy electromagnetic radio wave panopticon right there. And that's more than anything shows the potential for overarching surveillance that the quantum harnessing quantum mechanics and applying it to the surveillance apparatus. That is full scale, almost like as close as a human organization can get to like godlike surveillance abilities.
Yeah, which is very much the Genesis 3, you shall be as gods kind of thing. But it's
and with your Neuralink, that's how Neuralink, you'll use Neuralink to control your computer. It uses a radio frequency from the Neuralink chip to your iPhone. And now you're talking about, turning your thoughts into radio frequencies that could be read by this quantum sensor.
Yeah, and so a lot of times you talk to preppers and they're like, oh, we got to get our ham radios. You and I have talked about it.
Sure.
Let's get our ham radios ready in case something goes down. We can communicate and, coordinate and whatnot. But given this thing, it's like if it all goes down and you bust out the ham radio, they can pinpoint exactly where you are and what you're saying.
Yeah, they can already kind of do that.
Yeah, they can already do that, but I don't know. It just seems like there's no hit the microphone. There's no escape hatch except through Jesus Christ. It's really coming down to
for
that.
All those new agers who are going to be doing remote viewing and astral projection to get away from the man.
Yeah. That's good luck. Good luck.
Okay, we have not talked a whole lot about geoengineering recently. Should we get some updates on that?
Yeah, I don't have a jingle for geoengineering, or maybe somebody has sent it, but I got lost in the mix. But
trying to think if there's like a chemtrails jingle or something.
Oh, we did. I think we might have had a chemtrail one. Let me.
That's okay.
Let me try to. Somebody sent a chemtrail. There was like a chemtrails. Somebody sent that in a long time ago. Let me try to.
Trying to think, or is that a? That might be a no agenda.
Oh, is it no agenda? Oh, we're blending.
Oh no,
we're blending things. Okay, yeah, that is no agenda. But okay,
Whoops.
well,
okay.
How about this?
It will kill. There you go. Well, it's been some crazy weather for folks across the country. Of course, Texas. Well, we got a lot of Texas listeners. I saw a bunch of photos and people telling us how, the dark winter has come to Texas. And there's this tweet by Austin Energy saying rotating outage update at 5:40 a.m. due to the severity of weather plus conditions of the electric grid. Rotating outages in our area are lasting longer than the expected duration. To serve critical loads plus protect the overall reliability of the grid, customers experiencing an ERCOT directed outage will remain until conditions improve. Conservation is still needed by those who have power, especially as you're waking up this morning. Lots of exclamation points. Customers are urged to keep electric use to only what is essential for heating and safety. There you go. It continues. It's a sketchy situation over there in Austin. They can't handle it. The situation continues to worsen across Texas, and here in Austin Energy implemented required outages early Monday morning during doing our part to help stabilize the ERCOT grid. The required outages are more extensive than anyone expected and do not allow. Okay, where's the last? Oh no, where's the last? Allow us to bring affected customers back online at this time. We'll continue working with ERCOT and working through our contingency plans to get power back on to customers as soon as the grid allows. So we've got complete electricity disaster going on in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, you said it. The dark winter has hit Texas.
Yeah, I read somewhere there's 2.5 million people without power right now in Texas.
That's insane. And
yeah,
didn't and I have this Biden thing here. President Joe Biden approves Texas emergency declaration. Didn't he sign an executive order a few weeks ago about like disaster recovery, something or other? I gotta look it up. Almost like
I remember something about that.
Yeah, like they anticipated some kind of, and I was wondering why they would even throw that in there, you know. But yeah, it feels like this is, if there is weather manipulation technology, which I believe there is, why not go after the biggest state in the country that protects, your Second Amendment rights and
right.
Is,
well, you know what I think is hilarious is during the California
fires.
No, the what is the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Wow, I can't think of it. It's a biblical word. Oh my gosh, everybody leaving California.
Oh, the Exodus.
The Exodus. Thank you. My gosh. The California Exodus, millions of Californians moving out of the country, many of the country. Oops. The country of California.
California, you mean?
Yes, California. Many of them moved to Austin. Many of them moved to Texas, and many of them moved to Austin in particular.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you got all these Californians, all these sunshine heads moving out to Texas thinking it's going to be warm and sunny. And they get the biggest snow disaster, cutting their power. They've turned into a full geoengineering, emergency zone.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I was thinking too, is that a lot of the LA residents, especially that moved out there, just brought the principality from LA out to Austin and the Texas area, and now everybody in Austin's probably like, get out of here, you Callies. You brought your bad juju with you.
Yeah. And there was the 133 car pileup over there in Texas.
Yeah,
too.
That thing was. I saw some footage of that. Oh, man, that is some scary stuff, man.
Yeah, where was that? Was in Dallas, I believe.
It was just some black ice, right? And the cars, the big rigs couldn't stop, and they just kept smashing in. And that was horrible.
Yeah, no, it was gnarly. That you hear about those kind of pileups maybe once. Oh, I don't know, every 5 years or something. Texas, let me see where that was. I think it was in Dallas. Oh no, I'm losing control of my VR hand. Here we go. Texas pileup. I think so a bunch of people died too. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh, do you hear that cat screaming in the background?
I do. I'm going to talk to him. Get out of here.
Oh, no, you can't communicate. Let's see here. That's very difficult. I'm reading this entire article. I'm not finding exactly where it is. At least 6 people are dead and dozens more were injured in a massive pileup on an icy Texas interstate that involved more than 130 vehicles Thursday morning, officials said. This is a major catastrophe in our city, Fort Worth. Yeah, Dallas-Fort Worth. Fire spokesman Mike Drivdahl said about the ice-related crash. Yeah, man, apparently it's cold in Texas. So there you go. It's global warming.
Global warming. You know what I've heard in just people who are a little bit more on the fringes talk about is that this kind of weather change is so places like Texas, it's going to get colder there. So there's going to be some kind of like weird shift in weather. And places like Antarctica are going to start melting. And
there's a lot of good real estate in Antarctica.
Yeah, but also some ancient pyramids.
Yes,
and
well,
some
the
other
Nazi
things.
bases.
The Nazi base. So yeah, there's
the entrance to the Hollow Earth.
What I'm hearing is that they're going to start releasing some of that information as a carrot on a stick, and these types of weather anomalies is the beginning of the ice age for the rest of the world.
Did you see that story? Are you referring to that story?
There was a story somewhere.
There was a story about how they were drilling in the ice of Antarctica just recently, and they found, they released another ancient bacteria or something.
Yeah.
I was gonna put it in the show today. Is it in the show today?
No, but
okay.
I have it here. I can pull it up real quick.
It just happened this week or something.
Yeah, here it is. This is MSN.com, but also it's a Business Insider article. Scientists accidentally found life under 3,000 feet of ice in Antarctica. Never in a million years would they have expected it, the lead scientist said. Scientists stumbled, blah, blah, blah. They found 2 types of unidentified animals where they had thought nothing could live. Their next step is finding a way to get close enough to identify the creatures.
Got to get close enough to the ancient aliens.
I know. Yeah, so there you go. They look like little tentacles. They look like little goo tentacles.
Don't go digging out tentacles out of Antarctic ice. That's we know what happens. That's when Cthulhu awakens, and then the rest is history. Yeah. I got another geoengineering thing here for you. It's from KHOU 11, and it says time is running out to prepare for winter storm. This is from Houston here. Now, this came out was updated yesterday. Texas residents are facing an extraordinary period over the next few days. The state is already under a disaster declaration as a powerful winter storm barrels towards southeast Texas. Governor Greg Abbott also plans to ask for a federal emergency declaration ahead of storm. Quote, the severity of the cold weather that is about to be experienced here in the coming days is unprecedented in Texas history, Governor Abbott exclaimed. The entire state is high alert. Governor Abbott warns time is running out to go get ready for winter weather unlike any other to hit this region in a long time. He said harsh conditions are expected and travel will be nearly impossible, so be ready to hunker down if you venture out. Quote, imagine if you're out on the road and you run out of gas, or imagine you're on the roadway and you're run into snow and you're incapable of moving. Who knows how long you'll be stuck in that position, Governor Abbott said.
Jeez, fear. Wow. Be scared. Yes. Now that the COVID thing has passed, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of makes me want to go buy a snowmobile. That sounds I mean, I'm not in Texas, but this would be a good reason for all those motorheads to go out and finally invest in a snowmobile in Texas. I wonder if they even sell snowmobiles in Texas. In Houston, Mayor Sylvester Turner is encouraging everyone to take of their pipes, plants, pets, and people. What? Quote, there are seniors, for example, in our city that are living in homes, and there's very little heat, if there is heat at all. Please check on them, Mayor Turner said. The George R. Brown Convention Center in downtown Houston will open its doors at 2 p.m. Sunday. It will become a shelter for people needing a warm place to stay. Down by the coast, Galveston County Office of Emergency Management Coordinator Scott Tafuri said they're treating this winter weather like they do tropical storms. Hey, that's opposite. Quote, hopefully you already have your hurricane kit built from previous years, so hopefully you have that stuff on hand already. Officials said grab what you need now if you haven't done so. They want people where they plan to ride out the storm by Sunday night. This is going to be a very challenging time for Texas and for Texans, but it is a challenge that we know our fellow Texans are up to, Governor Abbott said. So yeah, there you go. Watch out, Texas. It's so you've got a Snowpiercer situation developing down there.
Yeah, this is again, I don't know. You know, it's just weird when politicians come out and they know that you're about to get hit by the craziest weather ever.
Right.
It always kind of makes me suspicious.
Well, and of course, just to dip into the, fringy conspiracy theories, if indeed there was a crazy version of the world where, governments and high-powered agencies had found ways to manipulate the weather using, maybe there's some sort of aluminum nanoparticles or ionizing rays blasting into the atmosphere from a secret location in Alaska, or whatever the case may be, if that was the case, and you're trying to propagate a control system through a pandemic to keep people in their homes and away from the public. And yet you had this one troublesome area, let's call it Texas, where the civilians, the citizens, they prefer freedom and they believe in their rights as human beings to not be locked away in their homes. And, if you were having trouble convincing them to stay inside, it seems like the only way to possibly do that would be to completely cover the entire state in ice and make it so if they leave their homes, they'll be trapped in a dark winter.
How you like 'em, ice balls?
What?
That's what the elite are saying.
Okay.
They're like,
is that a reference to
too
something?
Hot. No, I'm just
okay.
coming up with my own references.
How you like them ice balls? You heard it.
All right. Yep. That's all we got here. Stay safe, everybody in Texas. Hopefully you're able to catch this transmission.
Yeah. Well, Governor Abbott was calling for a federal state of emergency. And heading over to whitehouse.gov just for an update, President Joseph R. Biden Jr., he's a junior, I did not know that, approves Texas emergency declaration. Just real quick, today President Joseph R. Biden declared that an emergency exists in the state of Texas. I declare an emergency exists in the state of Texas, and ordered federal assistance to supplement state and local response efforts due to the emergency conditions resulting from a severe winter storm beginning on February 11th, 2021 and continuing. So there you go. Oh, but here's the great part. Listen up, Texans. The president's action authorizes the Department of Homeland Security, Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, to coordinate all disaster relief efforts which have the purpose of alleviating the hardship and suffering caused by the emergency on the local population, and to provide appropriate assistance for required emergency measures authorized under Title V of the Stafford Act. to save lives and to protect property and public health and safety, and to lessen or avert the threat of catastrophe in all 254 Texas counties. Specifically, FEMA is authorized to identify, mobilize, and provide at its discretion equipment and resources necessary to alleviate the impacts of the emergency. Emergency protective measures for mass care and sheltering FEMA camps and direct federal assistance will be provided at 75% federal funding. Then it's signed here, Robert J. Fenton, senior official performing the duties of the Administrator, Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, Department of Homeland Security, named Jerry S. Thompson as the federal coordinating officer. What did I say? Jerry S. Thomas as the federal coordinating officer for federal recovery operations in affected areas. Do not worry, citizen.
Yeah, you know,
FEMA is coming to rescue you, Texas.
I mean, to the point you were making about targeting Texas in general for their independence. I mean, this is very much like we're the government and we're here to help you. We're going to help you guys, Texas.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, it was mentioned that that stadium in Houston, I believe, was open for anybody who needed a warm place to sleep. I mean, that very well could be a FEMA operation. It did not say that, but if it's FEMA coming in, setting up their FEMA camps to help the population.
It's also going to be a super spreader location.
Well, that's what I'm curious too.
Does COVID freeze in cold weather, or does it become stronger?
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea. It was supposed to die in the summer, but I don't know. Well, it's interesting. Yeah. You've got a homeless. I think generally this shelter is, first of all, probably for the homeless who don't have a warm place to sleep. But, maybe for anybody else who maybe the heat's out in their house or something, or they don't have supplies. Anybody who's not able to take care of themselves, pack them all into a super spreader dome.
And then,
that's a great place. But you can't come into the shelter unless you get vaccinated.
Yeah, and then either way, you have a lot of dead people. You get vaccinated and you die, or you get the rona and you die, or you get too cold and you die.
You need a warm place to stay, so you go to the shelter. They won't let you in because you're a bad person unless you're vaccinated. So they vaccinate you there, and then you get to wait out your horrible side effects, in a shelter. And when the side effects subside or your life subsides, hopefully the winter storm subsides, and then you're out into the wild again.
Yeah, they can fulfill their plan.
We should invite fewer people to be born.
Okie dokie. Well, should we take a second and thank some producers?
Let's do it.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Okay, folks, we want to take a second and thank some producers of this episode 300 of Canary Cry News Talk. And if you're new to the show, you might be thinking, thank producers, what are you talking about? Well, let me let you know. So first of all, we are on the value for value model, which you might notice we didn't read any advertisements. There's no affiliate codes. We don't take any corporate money whatsoever, not even from monetization of YouTube videos or any other platform. We are entirely listener supported, which, I mean, it's interesting because a lot of people claim to be listener supported. Even institutions like NPR, PBS, they say listener supported, PBS.
Listener supported, PBS.
Yes, but
NPR.
They're not fully listener supported. They also take money from corporations, but not here, baby. It was long ago trying to figure out this whole podcasting thing where we decided that taking any money from corporations was just a bad idea for us. I mean, for several reasons, because A, You must be brand friendly, which means we couldn't talk about most of the things that we talk about on this show. B, once you start taking corporate money, you are beholden to talk about or not talk about what the corporation deems is fit for their, to put their name on. But
I don't like what you said about waffles. We are taking away your sponsorship.
Everybody loves waffles.
But, also advertising in general is probably the worst thing to ever happen to humanity. And you might think that sounds a little hyperbolic, but really, when you think about it, censorship, the excuse for censorship is because of advertisers. You can't say things that advertisers don't want to be affiliated with. Big data, privacy concerns, all of these issues that are some of at the forefront of issues challenging us today is because of the advertising industry. All the Hollywood nonsense, even politics is wrapped up in advertising. You think that, TV stations prefer one candidate over another simply because of their politics? No, it's because politicians spend a lot of money on advertising during election years. So that's why we decided advertising is not the way for us. We are entirely listener supported. And because of that, if you support Canary Cry News Talk, you are not just a listener. Nay, indeed, you are a producer, because it's not just a charity. It's not just being, generous with your best buddies, Basil and Gons. But just like the real world, if you pay for a piece of media to be created, you are a producer of that piece of media. And here's the thing. We're moving into a time in history that it may soon be the only way to keep the media that you trust and that you like going. Because,
we're already there. We're pretty much there.
We have mainstream outlets now asking for donations because they're realizing that they've been so handcuffed by advertising and they're so dependent on it that they are, the second Trump is out of office and ratings crash, they no longer can make the money that they need to run what they're doing.
Quick,
we run a small operation here.
Quick, impeach Trump. Do it now before we lose all of our subscribers.
It was so funny because Trump had been out of office for weeks, and I open up my my Apple News, which this is a collection of news. It's all about Trump. Not a single story about Biden. It gives me like 15 articles all about Trump. They just can't stay away from the guy. Yeah. Anyways, so that's the value for value model. We put out value. We do it 3 times a week, and we like to think we do a pretty good job. And if you get any value out of what we do, you have the opportunity to join the rebellion and jump in and support the show. And you know what? I will say somebody sent me a message. I don't know if they sent it to you too, Guns, but they were sort of expressing this feeling of obligation that they had to support not just our show, but the shows that they like. And, I don't like to think that, we obligate. Nobody's obligated to support the show. But this person felt obligated because they feel like, they got used to getting media for free and they never really thought about what it takes to keep something going. And this, I tried my best to let them know to not feel obligated, but I just thought it was it was more of an internal existential obligation that if there's something that you trust and you listen to a lot and you feel that if it stopped happening, that your life would be worse, they felt obligated to keep it going. But don't feel pressured by us, folks. But for those who feel the need to keep quality, free thinking programs going, the value for value model is for you. But enough of my rambling, Gons. Are you ready to thank some producers?
Yep. Ready to go.
First of all, I'm going to start out by letting you know about patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk, patreon.com/CCNT. And as of right now, Gons, there are no new Patreon producers on that channel, but we do also have patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. Now, if you haven't listened to it, Canary Cry Radio is a show we've been doing since 2012, an interview-style show. We totally recommend you guys listen to that. But we had a new producer come in on patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio, and that is producer Brandon J.
Brandon J, thank you. And by the way, Canary Cry Radio, we talked about geoengineering and weather modification. We did that on episode 60. That was December 2013 is when we did that show. So,
geez.
Look for that, folks. Episode 60 of Canary Cry Radio.
Wow, we got 60 episodes done in the first 2 years.
Year and a half.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, we were on it for a while, and then
the good old days where we used to crank those suckers out.
Yeah, then you decided to leave Earth.
But Patreon is not the only way to become a producer of the show. In fact, a lot of people don't like Patreon, and that's okay. Yeah. We support you. That's why you can head over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right, canarycryradio.com/support. You can come in with monthly producership options if you want to help lay down a firm foundation to keep the show going. But if commitment's not your thing, you can come in with a one-time producership in any amount. There's also cryptocurrency and all sorts of fun stuff over there. You can learn about the Canary Cry roundtables of knights and dames. But Gons, who do we have coming in on the PayPal?
Oh, we got a little splurge of people coming in last minute, which trying to add through here. Okay, first up, let's thank producer Ismail S.
Yeah, thank you very much, producer Ismail.
Thank you, producer Ismail. Next up, we have producer Saul coming in. Thank you, producer Saul.
Thank you very much, producer Saul, with a pocket full of sevens.
And he apologized for the lack of support last week. He's very consistent. He'd rather give a little bit at a time and be mentioned on air all the time, I guess. Was a little slow. You very much. Was a little slow financially on my end. I tried to support with art at least. Have a great week to you and the Basil and all of the Canarians out there. So thank you for that, producer Saul.
Thank you very much, producer Saul.
Next up, we have producer America L.
Ooh.
Yes, America L. $33.11. Hola! Been subscribed to Face Like the Sun for years, but I just recently started listening to Canary Cry News Talk around December. I can't believe I have been missing out. Thanks, y'all, for all you do, and God bless. Please play the Newsom jingle.
It's Newsom science, baby! Ha!
It's Newsom science. I'm going to miss Newsom once he's out.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, he'll probably disappear and never be heard of again. But thank you very much, Producer America. Ooh, I like that. Producer America.
Producer America. Yes. Next up, we have producer Chad C. Thank you, producer
Thank you very
Chad
much.
C. And he's a new monthly subscriber of the producership. So thank you for that.
Coming in with the 33 donation.
We got so many Illuminati producerships. It's getting out of control.
It's the Illuminati of Illuminati handlers.
Yeah, they're all going to have to fight for position. Next up, we have Kara coming in.
Thank you very much, Kara.
With her $33. And she says, happy 300th episode. It isn't $300, but it does have threes and zeros. Kara, tell Basil Sarah starts with a C is much too clever.
No. Tell Sarah Basil, with a C. Sarah with a C is much too clever. It's pronounced Kara. Ah, okay. Wow. Kara's been producing for at least a few months here and there, and I think I've always insisted that it's pronounced Sarah. So thank you for finally correcting me, Kara.
Yeah. Good job. Let's see. Thank you, Kara. Next up, we have producer Sergey.
Thank you very much, producer Sergey.
Producer Sergey. Let me see.
And he's coming in with 300 dimes. for our 300th episode.
Ah, is that what that is? Oh, okay. Yeah, 300 dimes. Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's clever. Clever there. Okay, hold on. Let me just get this producer. Okay, and then also next up, producer Vladimir S.
Oh, Comrade Vladimir coming in with 300 dimes, American dimes as well.
He gave us permission to speak in the Russian accent. Just so
yes, he's our KGB contact. KGB contact. Thank you, Vladimir.
Vladimir. Okay, next up we have Nicole H. Thank you, Nicole H. No note from Nicole H.
Thank you very much, producer Nicole.
And I think that is it for the normals. The producers.
Yes. Well, we also we had a special. We had a Canary Cry Roundtable special for our 300th episode here, and it was a little worrisome. You know, it's kind of it's a ridiculous ask. We're just putting it out there for anybody who wanted to jump in with a seat at the roundtable with the episode 300 special, and that was for 300. In support of $300, you could come into the roundtable as a squire. I think we said it was a squire or a jester. You could choose, but if you don't choose one, you're a squire.
Squire, the path to knighthood.
There you go.
Ooh, that was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, yes, we were a little bit worried about this, but some people actually wanted to join the kids table, the squire table.
Yeah. So first up, we have Clifton P coming in.
Thank you very much, producer Clifton P, or shall I say Squire Clifton?
Squire Clifton P. He says, "Congrats on 300. We will endure to the end." Yes, we will. So yeah, thank you for that. It was actually $300.33. So
Illuminati Squire.
Yeah. Shill Squire. All right, next up we have Squire Jeremy T.
Thank you very much, Squire Jeremy.
And he says 300th show is big, so this is my tithe. Praise Yah and Yeshua. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Next up we have Squire producer Shield Labs.
Okay, Squire Shield Labs. Have we heard from Shield Labs before?
I think so.
Seems familiar.
Yeah, and they say, their note here, here's a $1 an episode for all the great value content. I will be knighted someday.
That's right. You will. You will. Let's see. This is from the McBroom family.
The McBroom family. Yes.
Yeah.
Casey
thank
at
you very
Shield
much.
Labs on Instagram.
Okay, there we go. You know, and we're trying to figure out, Gons, if we should do like a ceremony for the squires. You know, do the full
round table
thing. But we're kind of needing to figure out, because of course, you know, knighting, that's a very serious thing around here. We don't just throw that around. That's you know, so it felt a little weird to give the squires a full ceremony. Do you want to play the music, and I could just sort of, you know, I'll do an improv ceremony?
If you want, I guess.
This is full. You know, I just feel like we need to honor the squires in a commensurate way.
Okay, all right.
Okay. We want to take a second and introduce, dear Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames and producers and all other listeners. We must introduce 3 new members of the Canary Cry Roundtable, the kids table. The table of squires. That's right, they are making their way towards knighthood in the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. And so we want to call up... let me get their names again. We want to call up... Wow, I had to scroll so much.
Squire Clifton.
Squire Clifton, Squire Jeremy, and Squire Shield Labs for being so devoted and committed to your Canary Cry news talk as to become a member of the Canary Cry Kids Table. And we thank you so much for your producership in the amount of $300 or more. And at the table, we have, well, let's see. Let's give them all this stuff. We've got
chicken nuggets.
Yes, we've got Happy Meals and chicken nuggets and mini broccolis and apple cider. And we are so happy to have you here. And thank you for your support of Canary Cry News Talk in the amount of $300 or more. And you are officially squires of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames.
The path to knighthood.
That's right. Now, we discussed, Gons, do we want to keep the Squire drive through the end, celebrate the week, or should we just call it here?
I don't know. I'm happy to do through the week. I mean, we will get to episode 302 this week.
Yeah, we'll get through 302 this week. We'll keep it going just in case. We won't no pressure, but if anybody out there also wants to become a squire for the episode 300 week, you can do that. And if you missed it, that's if you want to support the show. Well, what I was thinking also is if somebody wants to try to hit 300 in the course of the 3 episodes, give them a chance to build up to it. I don't think this will be a forever thing. But if you want to try to make 300 by the end of Friday.
Yeah, let's do that too, because if you're a producer out there and you've been supporting us for a while, do some accounting. See if you are actually a squire. I think this is the week to do it, right?
Yeah, or if you're close or something like that. Well, see, that was the discussion we were having beforehand, Guns, because I think if I don't know if we can go retroactively into squirehood. Yeah. I think the squireness should be, the total of this week's support. Okay. Because we could go back years and try to figure out squires, but this is specifically a episode 300 week event.
Right. Well, I mean, similar to Knights, you would have to, as producers, you would have to bring your accounting to us. We're not going to go digging around for that because we are horrible accountants.
Well, let's keep it to this week here.
Okay,
so
perfect.
Just because we don't want to take up the whole day with squires, although they deserve it. So thank you very much to all of our squires. Okay, well, it's time to move on. I do want to give a reminder that the Canary Cry Silver Drawing is still going on. The silver giveaway for the month of February, and those entries keep coming on in. And so thank you very much. If you want to enter into winning 1 ounce of fine silver, so generously provided by producer Aaron Moffat. Check her out on YouTube. You can do. There's one way to do this. But it has 3 details, and that is this. You must create a social media post about Canary Cry News Talk. You must use hashtag Canary Cry News Talk and link to some Canary Cry News Talk material. And every time you do that, you will have 1 entry into the Canary Cry Silver giveaway. So there you go. There's still time, folks. Keep going. All right. What's next, Gons?
Let's see. Hold on. Let me get back to the producer doc here. Crypto. You can support us with crypto. You can go to canarycryradio.com/crypto to learn a little bit about it and see all of the public addresses that we have available. Today, somebody came in with 10,231 Satoshis. So whoever did that, thank you. Bitcoin is pseudo anonymous. So although we see the amount, we don't know who it came from. We can do some
thank
analysis.
You to our anonymous Bitcoin producer there.
Yes, appreciate that. And wanted to thank to the anonymous Bitcoin producer, and then also wanted to thank Jade Bouncerson for the timestamps. We appreciate that. Mm-hmm. They keep coming in. And the other way you can support the show is with your time and talent. That is, if you want to put together a jingle that we play here, stuff like this.
Squire, the path to knighthood.
You can produce stuff like that. We welcome it on different topics or whatever it is. Or you can produce some art.
1 art, please.
And today we have a few people to thank and present their art. First up, producer Grace coming in. The congrats on 300 episodes. A nice little piece here that commemorates number 300. Very colorful.
Thank you very much, Producer Grace.
Let me try to see if there was a note associated with this particular piece. Mixed media piece for the 300th episode. So there you go. And then the 3 quotes. She combined 3 quotes into one.
Okay.
And you have evolving personalities. That's how they turn on us. That's from Basil from one of the Flippy updates. And then the trifecta.
Evolving robot personalities.
Oh, did I miss robots?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Evolving robot personalities. Then the trifecta. The unholy trinity. The 3 amigos. About Gates, Fauci,
so
and
many
Collins.
names. Yeah. So many names for that little group. I like the 3 amigos.
Yeah. 3 amigos is good. The unholy trinity. The 3 amigos. Which is Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, and Francis Collins, who's left out of all the headlines. I feel bad for Collins. He's trying to be the guy.
Because he's the religious part of the triangle there. You got Fauci with the government, Gates with the private sector, and Collins with the religious part of the trifecta.
Yeah, he's the one who gets put in a headlock by the other 2 guys.
Gets a boogie.
Yeah. And then the last one is, I think they compare strategies for taking over the world, Basil, about the Gates, Fauci, and Collins conversations that take place behind closed doors. So there you go. That's
thank you very much, Producer Grace.
Grace.
She really has sort of an archivist role. She's taken quotes from the show and immortalizing them in art. So thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's very cool.
We got to do one for, I noticed in the chat when I said the algorithms are raising your children. There's some people, I think they're going to get that tattooed.
Ooh.
Yes.
On their forehead or their right hand? No.
No, you misunderstand me.
You are the false prophet, Basil.
Oh, no.
Next up, we have a piece here provided by producer Mike B. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's the 3 amigos, and the faces are replaced with Bill Gates, Francis Collins, and Fauci.
Yeah, so it's the 3 Amigos, the movie, which I think is one of those movies that would not make it into theaters if it was 2021. Who are the original actors?
Chevy Chase. Oh gosh, that's the only one I remember. Steve Martin, I think, was one of the guys. Right.
Yeah.
And Martin Short.
Yes.
That's it, yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Movie knowledge.
Yeah. So yes, it's the 3 Amigos movie poster, and of course we've got Gates, Francis Collins, and Fauci.
And
looking good, fellas.
In their holsters, they have syringes.
Do they? Oh, I didn't even notice that. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a classic.
Yep, that's right. Very good. Very well done.
I'm pretty sure I have that belt buckle.
I wouldn't doubt it. I've seen your belt buckles. They are it's a whole collection of their own.
I know. It's a reason why I'll fit in if I ever have to escape to Texas.
Yeah,
you'll see me walking with my flashy belt buckle.
People don't know this, but Basil's style is not what's the word I'm looking for?
It's got a lot of influences. Cowboy,
it's
is
cowboy,
definitely in there.
It's kind of retro. It's
Aloha retro cowboy.
Sure, yeah. You expect somebody walking out of a costume store looking like that, but it's just the way he dresses. It's quite remarkable.
Wow, thank you. Thank you.
I mean that as a compliment. Most people can't pull it off. Most people would feel ridiculous with pink pants and
I will say
unbuttoned Hawaiian shirts with the leather jacket.
Not to say that I don't feel ridiculous. I just embrace ridiculous.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for that, Mike B. Oh, and then we also have a piece of art, or a couple of them, or actually it is a piece of art from 88. It's been a while. This is 88 coming in with a physical piece here.
This one was cool. This was a note here, said 88, said, "This was made with the help of my little 10-year-old sister named Lily." I think it's Lily or Lily.
Lily.
Lily. She had to get involved for the 300th show. It's a paper mache bird with glued on feathers, spray painted canary yellow. This was fun. This
whole
broke
project.
out of usual. Yes, it's like a piñata.
Yeah.
It's a piñata canary with big googly eyes, humongous googly eyes, and a gold chain with a giant 300 hanging around its neck. This made me so happy when I saw it. So good job, 88, and good job, Sister Lily or Lily.
Thank you for that.
I want to make sure I say one of the correct options.
Yeah, we should blindfold people, give them a bat, and someone can get all the candy inside.
Oh, I want to put this in a trophy case. This thing is awesome. Yeah.
Yes, very cool, very cool. Appreciate that, 88. Good to see you. And lastly, we have one from producer Allie.
Hold on, Chili Bean said it's a next gen Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
which is such a great, for Pokemon players out there. The original 151 made total sense, very creative. Then everything after the original 151, they're just like, I don't know, make it a bird with a gold chain. There we go. Let's put some googly eyes on it. Okay, that's another Pokemon.
Yeah. Okay, so producer Allie here came in with a piece. Allie's take on the attorney cat situation. Meet Judge Smudge. And this is in reference to the clip of a court case going on Zoom where one of the people had a cat
One of the
filter.
lawyers had the cat filter.
Yeah. Somebody commented on the YouTube channel and said, like, I can't believe you guys bought it. That guy's doing it on purpose. He's trying to maybe, but it doesn't change
the purpose
anything.
of that.
I don't know, trying to save embarrassment or get out of a situation. I don't know, but I don't think so. I think it's just some clickety click, people not used to the technology. And
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know what benefit would be out of faking that, but either way, doesn't matter. Thank you, Allie, for this piece of art here. Yes, and for those who can't see, at the top, playing the role of Judge Cat, I believe, is that the meme cat, the angry cat. The sitting at the table with the salad, usually paired with a yelling, screaming blonde lady, and then the very judgy cat. And that cat is saying, I believe you have a filter turned on. And then below, it's just a perfect rendition of the sad kitten filter that the lawyer had on. Said, I'm ready to go forward with it. And there we go. Soon all court cases will be done with cat filters. That's my 2021 prediction.
Just anything important will be filtered. That I wouldn't be surprised if that type of thing is in our future. Just people, making their own and coming up.
I want the defendant to have a cat filter on.
Yeah,
you're in vaccine court for. They want to send you away for not quarantining. You got to show up with your cat filter. That's a good way to get sympathy from the judge.
Right. I see a note here, something about a Flippy official. Is that for you or what is that?
Oh yeah, I stuck that in there for some reason. Let me see here. Oh, I didn't know when I wanted to do this, but a Flippy official on Twitch just put this little update for an he's an Australian Flippy.
Down under.
And yeah. And they posted this little update in the thing, and I just wanted to mention it just to extend some prayers to our Australian producers. It says, in Aussie news, our state, Victoria, went into a snap lockdown on Friday night because of a COVID case getting out of a hospital quarantine.
Hotel.
There's only been what did I say? Oh, hotel quarantine, right. The Chinese zone, no doubt. There's only been 2 to 3 cases detected since. Our church was raided on Sunday as someone dobbed us into the police. Maybe snitch. Is that Australian for snitched?
Yeah, sounds like it.
The church was doing a live stream with no members of the public in attendance. So they actually raided the church.
During the live stream? That's intense.
During a live stream. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, man.
Also, as long as we're taking updates from the chat here, Storm Rider on YouTube says Parler is back up now.
Yeah, I heard about
anything
that.
this?
I just saw that it's back up, but they're not clear on who their servers are. Where the servers are.
That would be important to know.
Yeah, so we'll find out. But
hopefully they invested in some of their own infrastructure.
That would be the way to do it, and the kind of people behind Parler, the big money that's behind it, it wouldn't be impossible to do, and they've had about a month to figure it out, so hopefully they got it going. I don't know. I kind of tend to like Gab a little more than Parler at the moment, but we'll have to see how it all kind of turns out.
I've yet to be reabsorbed into the social media thing.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. You want to be where everybody's at. And it's hard to rip away, but you got to do it at some point. Yeah. Is there anything else we need to do here?
Nope, I think it's about time to wake up.
All right, let's do it.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
All right, wake up, folks. Let's see here.
I wanted to mention this story here. It's just a quick one. We don't need to talk about it too much. Just to keep an eye out to the sky. Newsweek.com. Watch live as God of Chaos asteroid has close encounter with Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Next month, you'll be able to watch a huge asteroid named after an ancient Egyptian god of chaos passes through Earth's cosmic neighborhood. So March 5th, virtual telescope project will be live streaming an asteroid dubbed Apophis, which we've heard about Apophis before.
Mm-hmm.
They're the headline. They're God of Chaos. It's going to come near us, Basil.
Yeah,
a dark winter, God of Chaos. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep. So that I just wanted to mention that so that we can keep our eyes on the sky. But I had this.
That Planet X, is that
could be
Naruto or whatever is supposed to get us?
Could be. Yeah, Wormwood. There's a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah.
A quick update.
666.
This is preview.houstonchronicle.com. Chronicle Concerts. Julia Sinelnikova introduces Oracle 666.
Ooh.
You heard of Oracle 666?
No, but the name is capturing my imagination.
Artists from all over the country are continuing to perform live without leaving their homes. It's necessary as many venues remain shut down in the face of increasing coronavirus cases. Independent artists, many of whom have lost most of its income, have been hit particularly hard. Live streaming has become more important than ever, and we're here to showcase some of the best performers in Houston and beyond as they try to fight the dark winter. Oracle 666 joins us for a performance at 11 a.m. Blah, blah, blah. It's a non-binary queer femme artist who grew up in Houston makes their debut today with the song Caledon Haze. I want people to experience a dizzying and exciting feeling of elevation, says the artist, whose real name is Julia Sinelnikova. The song brings me back to the raves of my youth in Texas and New York City, when the cerebral beats would whisk crowds to a wavelength high into the air, all dancing in sync. Oracle 666 will perform 2 songs, blah, blah, blah. So there you go, Oracle 666. Coming to a live stream in Houston.
Is this an artist, or is that the name of a album or song? What is that?
I think the name of the DJ or his avatar, his music avatar, is Oracle 666.
Music avatar.
Yeah, their new name, their new DJ name. So.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go, kids. Kids love that kind of stuff, you know.
Yes. I don't know.
I got a update for you here, and it's concerning a few things that we have touched upon in the past.
Yep.
And it's from Wired.com, and it's about deepfakes.
This is deep.
Yeah. And the headline is Authoritarian Regimes Could Exploit Cries of Deepfake.
Called it.
What?
Called it.
Oh, there it is. A viral video shows a young woman conducting an exercise class on a roundabout in the Burmese capital, Naypyidaw. Behind her, a military convoy approaches a checkpoint to go conduct arrests at the Parliament building. Has she inadvertently filmed a coup? She dances on. And regular listeners will remember when we had this young lady's video on the show, because it was some early filmed evidence of the coup that happened over there. But let's read on. The video later became a viral meme, but for the first days, online amateur sleuths debated if it was green screened or otherwise manipulated, often using the jargon of verification and image forensics. For many online viewers, the video captures the absurdity of 2021. Certainly did. Yet claims of audiovisual manipulation are increasingly being used to make people wonder if what is real is a fake. Dun dun dun. At Witness, in addition to our ongoing work to help people film the reality of human rights violations, we've led a global effort to better prepare for increasingly sophisticated audiovisual manipulation, including so-called deepfakes. These technologies provide tools to make someone appear to say or do something they never did, to create an event or person who never existed, or to more seamlessly edit within a video. The hype falls short, however. The political and electoral threat of actual deepfakes lends itself well into headlines, but the reality is more nuanced. The real reasons for concern became clear through expert meetings that Witness led in Brazil, South Africa, and Malaysia, as well as the US and Europe, with people who had lived through attacks on their reputation and their evidence, and professionals such as journalists and fact-checkers. I like how fact-checkers are professionals now. Professional fact-checker, charged with fighting lies. They highlighted current harms from manipulated non-consensual sexual images targeting ordinary women, journalists, and politicians. This is a real, existing, widespread problem, and recent reporting has confirmed its growing scale. Their testimony also pinpointed how claims of deepfakery and video manipulation were being increasingly used for what law professors Danielle Citron and Bobby Chesney call the liar's dividend, the ability of the powerful to claim plausible deniability and incriminating footage. On incriminating footage. Statements like, it's a deepfake, or it's been manipulated, have often been used to disparage a leaked video of a compromising situation or to attack one of the few sources of civilian power in authoritarian regimes, the credibility of smartphone footage of state violence. This builds on histories of state-sponsored deception. In Myanmar, the army and authorities have repeatedly both shared fake images of themselves and challenged the veracity and integrity of real evidence of human rights violations. In our discussions, journalists and human rights defenders, including those from Myanmar, described fearing the weight of having to relentlessly prove what's real and what's fake. They worried their work would become not just debunking rumors, but having to prove that something is authentic. Skeptical audiences and public factions second-guess the evidence to reinforce and protect our worldview, and to justify actions and partisan reasoning. In the U.S., for example, conspiracists, that's an interesting new way to do it. Not conspiracy theorists, conspiracists. What do you think the consequence of changing that term would be, Gons? Is it just because conspiracy theorist is sort of lost its power as a negative term?
Yeah, I mean...
Or has it?
I don't think it has necessarily, but it is interesting that they use conspiracists instead of conspiracy theorists. Let me just open the link up.
It's interesting because it's deviating from sort of the plot points.
Yeah, well, conspiracists implies that they are actually conspiring.
I guess that might be conspirators, conspiracists. Yeah, that's weird. Conspiracists and right-wing supporters, of course, dismissed former President Donald Trump's awkward concession speech after the attack on the Capitol by claiming it's a deep fake. Oh, yes.
Okay. Conspiracist definition, a person who supports a conspiracy theory. So it's just
okay.
Yeah, there you go. It's just a easier way to say it.
Got it. There are no easy solutions. We must support stronger audiovisual forensics and verification skills in the community and professional leaders globally who can help their audiences and community members. We can promote the widespread accessibility of platform tools to make it easier to see and challenge the perennial miscontextualized or edited shallow fake videos that simply miscaption a video or do a basic edit, as well as more sophisticated deepfakes. Responsible authenticity infrastructure that makes it easier to track if and how an image has been manipulated and by whom, for those who want to show their work, can help if developed from the start with a consciousness of how it could also be abused. So they were talking about, do you remember the name of that company or that service that we were exploring? They're hoping to fight deep fakes by, every video you take gets uploaded through their system, and there was a
would
few
be able
of them to
them.
identify those things.
There's a few of them out there. I don't remember the exact one we reported on.
Yeah,
try to
neither
look
do
it
I.
up real quick.
We could go find it in our things. This article's almost over, so I'll keep going. We must also candidly acknowledge that promoting tools and verification skills can in fact perpetuate a conspiratorial disbelief by default approach to media that in fact is at the heart of the problem with so many videos that in fact show reality. Oh my gosh, the whizzing, the zigzagging of logic on this is pretty incredible. Any approach to providing better skills and infrastructure must be recognized that conspiratorial reasoning is a short step from constructive doubt. Media literate. Let me do that again. Any approach to providing better skills and infrastructure, meaning to be able to dodge deep fakes, must recognize that conspiratorial reasoning is a short step from constructive doubt, meaning that doubt or constructive doubt can easily turn into conspiratorial reasoning.
Wow, I wasn't entirely listening because I pulled up Fake Catcher is the name of the Binghamton researchers tool to catch deep fakes.
Yeah, so there you go. There's tools available, allegedly. But this is interesting because on one hand, they're saying, on one hand, on its surface, this article is talking about the deep fakery and how common it can and will become. But on the other hand, they're saying, all this doubt in media that we've put out there can easily turn into conspiratorial reasoning. So don't do that. Media literacy approaches and media forensic tools that send people down the rabbit hole rather than promoting common sense judgment can be part of the problem. We don't all need to be instant open source investigators. First, we should apply simple frameworks like the SIFT methodology: stop, investigate the source, find trusted coverage, and trace the original context. Political opportunism also thrives on panic. Deepfake fears will be used to justify authoritarian fake news laws globally, or the co-opting of approaches like authenticity infrastructure to make them reinforce power and repress our voices, rather than challenge misinformation and disinformation. So basically bringing up the fact that, you could have these tools to spot deep fakes, but those in power could easily manipulate that to suit their ends. While, quote, seeing is believing no longer holds the weight it once did, it shouldn't be the default to assume seeing is not believing. Not everything is deep faked. What you are seeing may be true, And one reason to hold on to that is because the reality of the rights violations that are now occurring in Myanmar need to be recognized and taken seriously. In this case, sadly, the exercise instructor was dancing to an anti-authoritarian anthem while the military took over in real time in the background. Thank goodness, because of this video, more people know that this coup is happening in Myanmar. Don't look away. It's getting worse right now, and real videos matter. So this article is very interesting because one of the big points that we've been making for years, I mean, we've been covering deepfakes since the beginning of Canary Cry News Talk in early 2016, which is, it's not just about, oh, there's fake videos out there. It's the social instability that comes from not being able to identify or not identify deep fakes. It's the disintegration of the ability to decide if something is true or not. That's the real challenge here. It's not just, oh, a video can be faked. It's you may never know if a video is faked or not, which will cause you to immediately not not
trust.
Everybody, but there's a chance that you could not trust any video that you see, which in the context of this article is, stating as a danger because, if there's videos of human rights violations or something, then that could go left unattended to. And so there you go. I mean, I'm glad that in the last article they said that the exercise video during the coup was real, because that was going to shatter my whole world if it wasn't.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about this is that regardless, things being faked has been a point of discussion for people like us. Like I remember the what was it? It was the Anderson Cooper interviews somebody from
Q.
No, not Q. It was before that. It was Sandy Hook, and his nose disappeared, and people were like, "He's using a green screen."
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yeah.
So that discussion was taking place at a very, it was a very small group of people back then, 2012, 2013, where people were like, hey, wait a minute. Why is Anderson Cooper's nose disappearing while they're doing this interview?
Right.
And it feels like that conversation is just that debate, that discussion is mainstreaming with the arrival of deep fakes. And, both sides of the issue there in terms of authoritarian regimes being able to just any kind of, all kinds of plausible deniability. Oh, it's just fake video.
Right.
But on the other side, people being just hyper skeptics of everything that comes out.
It's got a similar vibe and seems to be somehow connected, if not literally, maybe some sort of philosophical connection to the Mandela effect stuff.
Yeah.
Just like the complete dissolution of being able to trust what you see.
Yeah. And it's true that with video, it is hard to not trust stuff you see because, even right now, for those of you watching, we are not, you and I, Basil, we're not sitting in a retro wave landscape bringing you the show.
Tron style.
Retro wave landscape, bringing you news stories. And I don't actually have a browser floating above my head, showing the stories and stuff. So it's a normal thing to have video editing and stuff like that. The question is how to verify. And of course, it's going to become a different thing if there's political messaging going on. I think that's where things can get really ugly. But it also pushes for different types of authentication technologies or methodologies. And it's not going to come from a company. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be a company or a government or fact checkers or whoever.
Well, it would need to be some sort of decentralized open source infrastructure. That's the only one I would trust. I wouldn't trust, some corporate product or some government sponsored, Ministry of Truthiness product, which is probably, unfortunately, what will come first. You've got calls for Biden to create the reality czar position, and then they'll have some nutty government website, truth.gov, where you can run some media through it and it'll tell you if it's deep faked or not, And, it goes both ways, too, because, of course, recently with the January 6th events, and they mentioned some Trump videos that there were some calls for deep fakes and stuff. But it could go the other way, too. It could very well be. I mean, who knows? You talk about conservative worries. It could be a video of Biden, doing something or saying something that he didn't, or, Kamala, I don't know, burning American flags while wearing a KGB uniform. So it can go both ways.
That was a thing? I must have missed that. That's
no,
crazy.
But it will be now.
Kamala was burning American flags?
Oh, yeah. You didn't see the video? It was everywhere.
Oh, no. No, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, we'll have to run it through truth.gov.
The reality czar.
Yeah.
And what does the reality czar do? Is it like a Tinder thing? Like swipe right if real, swipe left if fake? You're just sitting there like real, fake.
Yeah, I don't know, but maybe. Yeah, I think you may have just helped the Biden administration figure out that.
Come up with a way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, things don't get any better.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
This is a, what happened to my, I don't have the article pulled up. Let me pull up the article real quick because I thought I had it ready and I don't.
Oh, no.
It is a zerohedge.com article, and the headline is, Court Docs Show FBI Can Intercept Encrypted Messages from Signal App. No, you and I have been using Signal for a couple of years to hide our communications.
I think 6 years now, maybe more.
Something like that. It's been a while.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Just it may mention it in the article, but Signal's been around for quite a while. We've sort of promoted its use for a while. But after Elon talked about it, and I think the Signal guy was on Joe Rogan, it suddenly just got this huge, is out of nowhere. Suddenly everybody was on Signal. And that's when you and I turned to each other. We're like, it's only a matter of time before this gets swooped up into the surveillance apparatus.
Yeah, so the article reads, recent court documents have indicated that the Federal Bureau of Investigations possesses a tool allowing them to access encrypted messages on the Signal app.
Yeah, it is.
Signal has rapidly gained in popularity as Silicon Valley monopolists have grown more openly hostile to free speech, but the platform may be vulnerable to backdoors that undermine the privacy protections provided through the encrypted messaging service. According to documents filed by the Department of Justice and first obtained by Forbes, Signal's encrypted messages can be intercepted from iPhone devices when those Apple devices are in a mode called partial AFU, which means after first lock.
Unlock.
After first unlock. When phones are in partial AFU, Signal messages can be seized by federal authorities and other potentially hostile interests. Gray Key and Celebrite are the tools typically used by the FBI to gain this sensitive information, an expert has explained. Quote, it uses some very advanced approach using hardware vulnerabilities, said Vladimir Katalov, who founded the Russian forensics company Elkomsoft, believing that Gray Key was used by federal authorities to crack Signal. This vulnerability within the Signal app may not be a design flaw, but rather a deliberate backdoor to allow authorities to access private messages. The app was initially funded and with backing from the deep state, after all. Big League Politics has reported about the rise of Telegram, a pro-privacy app that is Signal's most direct competitor. Do we need to keep going here? I think we get the
big block quote here.
Yeah, the huge block quote. The New York Times is prodding Telegram.
Yeah, why not? Let's zoom through it. Make that font nice and big for you there.
It's large enough. The New York Times is prodding Telegram to censor right-wing voices and hamper the platform's amazing growth as mainstream social media platforms enact draconian censorship. The notorious fake news rag published an article on Tuesday imploring Telegram to do more to stop so-called far-right conspiracy theorists, racists, and violent insurrectionists from using the app to communicate. Quote, "There's a real push and pull between the people that are using Telegram and messengers like it for good and the people who are using them to undermine democracy," said Nina Jankowicz, a disinformation analyst at the Globalist Wilson Center. "We see the same openness and sense of connection that is used by democratic activists, opportunistically exploited by extremists," she added. "Telegram has never yielded to pressure from officials who wanted us to perform political censorship," Durov wrote several years ago. Durov, a Russian-born libertarian, has run into trouble with the Kremlin over Telegram, but the Russian government has come around on the platform and now regularly use it. Dmitry Polyansky, Russia's deputy ambassador to the United Nations, even urged former President Donald Trump to get on the platform after he was banned by big tech. "Quote, seems like you don't enjoy freedom of speech in your own country anymore," Mr. Polyansky wrote. Although Trump is not currently active on the platform, his son, Donald Trump Jr., has joined Telegram and already commands a massive following on the pro-free speech app. Telegram may be a better option than Signal for individuals hoping to safeguard their rights, considering Signal's vulnerabilities and deep state ties. So,
wow, anti-Signal, pro-Telegram piece here.
I don't know if Telegram's any better. There's a lot of spammers on Telegram.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird. It's a weird. They kind of tried to set it up a little bit more like a social media platform, whereas Signal is strictly messaging. Telegram has like a lot of group activity. I don't know. But yeah, so the interesting thing here is a couple months ago I tweeted, and this is a lot of people were starting to wake up, that Signal was no longer, that it had been compromised in one way or another. That's when a lot of investigation went into its financing past and the people in charge over there. For the most part, everything seemed to check out, but the way that they are the way that it's actually not corrupted, but compromised is this AFU backdoor. And the thing is, you got to know, is AFU, this partial unlock, after first unlock, that's when you unlock your phone and it hasn't locked again on you. It does open up some interesting doors. I mean, there were some little glitches where after their first unlock, people could actually just get into your phone using Siri. You could bypass a lot of the security that was built into the phone, and that was actually a hardware vulnerability. So this is interesting. They're pretty brutal on Signal in this article and very pro Telegram, which I think is a little suspicious. Yeah. But it's a hardware vulnerability. It's a vulnerability within the iPhone, not necessarily with Signal itself. Not that I have a reason to defend Signal, but I think it's a little bit more complicated than just saying, every message on Signal you send is received by the government. It's not quite like that. This would take an individual within the FBI or some law enforcement agency to directly target you and then, wait for you to open up this vulnerability and then could take advantage of it.
Right. We've been trying out this. Oh, I can't get there. Why can't I get there? It's a platform called Sessions.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, I'm unable to pull up the website on the center browser.
Well, that's been the interesting thing with Sessions. Is it Session or Sessions?
It's Session, singular. Yeah.
Yeah. So Session is a very interesting messaging app. It seems to be purely decentralized.
There we go.
Now, which for those who understand the technology, it's basically blockchain based. But they don't say that. They just call it decentralized. And basically, this does a few things. It runs your message through like a dozen different servers, etc. Totally anonymizes it. And you know, there's a couple things that happen. It's not quite the smoothest messaging app that we've used because does go through the blockchain.
Yeah.
Or a blockchain. It's a little bit slower. Things like we've had problems sending pictures back and forth, Gons. Like sometimes pictures just won't go. They'll just get lost in the ether somewhere.
I mean, it's not really user friendly either, because as soon as you get it, you have this key. You have to
you don't have like a username or a phone number. You have a blockchain address.
You have a string of letters and numbers, like a 38-letter number string. That's your ID.
Which as I've always said, that's what you want.
Yeah, that's what you want.
You want your app to be inconvenient. You want your app to be slow, because that's how you know it's really private. So as far as we can tell, Session seems to be the most private, or the most private one that we've tried. However, it does have some little quirks that you just need to be prepared to deal with.
Yeah, it looks like it's using the Loki network for its communications. Yeah, I mean, there's something out there for people to try. It's not great user friendly, but that's kind of where we're
it's
at.
hard to get, if you have people who are not necessarily the most computer savvy, it can be kind of confusing. You're used to the Facebook world where everything just connects automatically and it's super easy to find your friends. This is not that.
Right. All right. So, meanwhile, there's a couple 33 updates I wanted to bring to you. Actually, there's one, which I thought was very bizarre.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
33 being the Illuminati dog whistle. And oh boy, where am I? Here we are. Okay. Orange County Register, coronavirus, 33 new deaths. 361 new cases in Orange County reported on February 14th. I thought, wait a minute, didn't we just have 33 deaths in Orange County like 2 or 3 episodes ago?
They report it every 33 deaths. They report it again.
And then, I went and looked. It was February 6th. It was episode 297. The Daily Pilot, Orange County reports 33 more deaths from COVID-19. Orange County, why are you just reporting 33 deaths 2 weeks apart?
Again.
Yeah, again. Yeah. Very, very suspicious and bizarre.
Yeah, no, it's pretty funny. They just have to re-report every 33 deaths just so they can keep the message going.
Such a weird thing. And it pops up all over the place all the time. I'm not always sharing it because it gets a little redundant, but every episode I could bring you at least 2 or 3 articles that say 33 new cases or 33 new deaths. It's just part of the protocol, I guess, for the beast.
Classic.
We got a couple waccine updates to wrap up the show.
Waccine.
A pandemic special.
It looks like you have something for that second one, so I can run through this first one here.
Yep, go for it.
Okay, this is coming from MSN.com. It's mirrored from the Washington Post. Headline is Oxford AstraZeneca begins a vaccine trial for children. It's the youngest group yet to be tested. Yay. Hooray! Oxford University announced Friday it started testing its coronavirus vaccine in children as young as 6 in a move that expands coronavirus vaccine trials to the youngest age group yet. The Oxford trial will include 300 child volunteers. How do you have a child volunteer? They're they're not of an age where they can personally volunteer. So what they meant to say is the Oxford trial will include 300 children volunteered by their parents, ages 6 to 17.
Well, they're pedos over there, so they don't really consider a parent as a...
Get your conspiracy theories out of here. With 240 of them receiving the vaccine co-developed with drug maker AstraZeneca, the remaining participants will receive a control meningitis vaccine that has been proved safe in children, but is expected to mimic side effects of COVID-19 shot, the university said in a statement. This is strange. This is a strange way to run the trial. They have 300 children. And usually with a control and a variable group, I think you're supposed to have those groups as even as possible. But they're giving 240 of the children the COVID vaccine, which means only 60 will be getting the control vaccine.
Yeah, I think it's
which is
1/5, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of strange. Seems like you'll have to do some mathematical chicanery there to
maybe the
make the stats work out on that.
Maybe 4/5.
Do we have our do we have our professional in the chat today?
I don't know.
Is N. Maddie here? And Maddie, show yourself if you're here. Yeah. Before the AstraZeneca trial, testing had not included children younger than 12. Three other companies, Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson's Janssen, have announced plans to start trials for younger children this spring. Only Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna vaccines have been authorized in the United States thus far. Johnson & Johnson has a single-shot vaccine that could be authorized in March. U.S. regulators are awaiting more trial data before approving the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, which is already in use in the European Union. Parents grapple with reality that young children won't be vaccinated soon, even with clinical trials for young...
No period after that sentence, if you notice that. Interesting.
Oh, that is true, yeah. Are you grappling, Gons? Are you grappling with your...
Yes.
Reality that young children won't be vaccinated soon. Even with clinical trials for younger patients underway, children are not expected to widely receive the vaccine for months, and perhaps not until 2022.
Oh, the humanity! What are we going to do?
How are they going to survive a year?
I gotta go get my donuts.
Richard Malley, a senior physician in the Division of Infectious Diseases at Boston Children's Hospital, said he does not expect vaccinations in children to start until next calendar year. Quote, "We really want to make sure they're safe and well tolerated in children, particularly when they're killing so many adults." Oh, sorry, that's not what it said. Particularly when there's a low risk-benefit ratio. Malley told the Washington Post on Saturday the novel coronavirus has not shown itself to be as dangerous in most children as it is in older adults, making it less critical to hurry testing for children. Quote, "The risk-benefit calculus you have to do should lead you to want to do this only if it's extraordinarily safe in pediatric populations," Malley said. The Oxford trial's small sample size of 300 children who span a decade in age is meant to serve as a jumping-off point, not the final word on how the vaccine will be tolerated by young patients. Malley said that in a 300-person trial, the purpose is to determine what he called a global response to inform researchers at a high level whether the vaccine is safe, well tolerated, and able to produce immune response in children. Although the development of various coronavirus vaccine candidates has occurred at an unprecedented speed, clinical trials expanding now to younger children follow the standard pattern of all vaccine testing, Malley said. Then it kind of just goes on and on and on, reiterating the same stuff. Here's a fun quote. "When you read that kids are less likely to transmit, it's roughly by a factor of 2, so it's not 0, he said, noting that the virus variants that have emerged may further challenge the equation. Malley also notes that although children broadly have not suffered severe or lingering illness from the novel coronavirus the way adults have, some children have developed acute respiratory failure and multisystem inflammatory syndrome, or MIS-C, a rare but but serious illness that can be fatal or leave children with lasting heart damage. Oh, good. So far in the United States, at least 11,000 children and teenagers have been hospitalized, and at least 215 have died, according to a January 28th report from the American Academy of Pediatrics. That's pretty crazy. I have not seen that number before. What are the deaths supposed to be up to now, allegedly? Like 400,000?
Yeah, over 400,000.
So out of the 400,000 deaths, only 215 of them are children?
Yeah, I was going to get into some of that.
Doesn't seem like it's that much of an emergency. Even though these are rare, they can be catastrophic, Malley said. If the vaccine is safe and can be tolerated, it can save lives. Wow. Okay, well, there you go. The youngest patients ever to be tested with the vaccine getting started.
Yeah, I don't like where this is headed. And I did look at the CDC numbers to kind of verify some of the stuff they said. And I'm actually glad they mentioned it in the article there. But here you have all deaths involving COVID-19. And you look under the age of 24 because you have this category here. So under the age of 1, it's 45. 1 through 4 is 23. 5 through 14 is 69. And then 15 through 24 is 626. So in total, that's 763 people under the age of 24. I'm extending the number here because I know it's just children. But like under 24... less than 1,000, well less than 1,000, 763 have allegedly died from something that involves COVID on their death certificate there. Which
interesting. Out of the 400,000 alleged deaths,
443,107
that involved COVID.
That involved
Again,
COVID.
Is not all from COVID. This is that COVID allegedly was a factor. Under 1,000 of them were under 24?
Under 1,000, 763 of them.
Well, that's not how Fauci makes me feel. Fauci makes me feel like children are dying left and right.
Yeah, and the number of children or number of people under 24, that includes children, that have died from all causes in the last year, I think, is 65.5 thousand. So, I mean, it's a very it's about 1% of children, or
seems like adults. Less than that.
It's about 1%.
65,000, and there's 1,000 who have died of COVID. Less than 1,000.
Unless I did my math wrong, 763 divided by 65,500. You move the decimals, 1.1%.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which is still it's not that many. But here's the thing. Here's what I think people should kind of, I always do this as sort of an exercise of thinking. You look at the number of suicides, all right, under the age of 24. This is from the National Institute of Mental Health.
Which has skyrocketed.
Oh, it's skyrocketed for sure. But suicide under the age of 24, you're talking about 6,700 or 6,800 or so. So, that's a lot. That's 10 times more people dying of suicide under the age of 24 than the coronavirus, the COVID-19. And so we're spending how much money on these vaccines and testing kids, and it's a little absurd. And I think, again, anytime I go down this rabbit trail and I start digging around and finding their own numbers, I get upset. I get angry. I get grumpy. No, I don't like it. I don't like what they're doing.
That's okay. That's a natural response. I think that's the correct response.
Yeah, it just bothers me. That it's just such a big deal. And then the schools are shut down, and there was that Biden plan to bring people back into schools and color coding things, and it's just. Are we done with the mind control trauma yet, or it's just going to get worse?
Nope, not yet, baby. It'll keep going. It's just a part of the system. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it.
Yeah, I need to go hit some
take
some
a breather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go punch some
okay,
canaries.
folks. Well, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We're going to let you go. Gons has to go chop some wood or something. But stick around this week because we'll be circling back on Wednesday, February 17th. Yeah, 2021. So make sure you're subscribed. While you're at it, why don't you just hit that like button now, subscribe, and bell button all.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
That's right. And also make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Use your favorite podcast player and subscribe to Canary Cry News Talk. Remember, next episode will be episode 301. We'll continue with the Squire Drive this week. We'll see if anybody else wants a chance. So we'll say this week, if you produce the show in the amount of $300 or more, you will get a prestigious seat at the kids' table of the Canary Cry Round Table of Knights and Dames. Why don't we hit that Squire jingle?
Oh, yes. Give me one moment. Let me pull it up here. Here it is.
Squire, the path to knighthood.
That's right. Get you on the path to knighthood, baby. So there you go. We'll continue that through Friday. And there's other ways you can support the show too. But remember, if you want to participate in the value for value model, which gives you, dear listener, freedom and some individuality in keeping the shows that you appreciate and trust on the air instead of the advertising model, which monetizes your attention and packages you up like a commodity to be sold off to corporations for their own personal gain. We invite you to be your own person. And if there's something that you want to continue, if you trust it, if you appreciate it, consider becoming a producer of the show. We are truly just amazed that, the world is how it is. And we're so thankful to the producers of this show for keeping it going. So you can do that by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk, or if you don't like Patreon, that's okay. Head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right, canarycryradio.com/support. And in the infamous words of Annie on YouTube, I love the kids' table. That's where you can spill your milk and throw food if you want. So there you go, Squires. You have, that's fun. You can have a food fight over at the Squires table. Okay, there's other ways you can support the show. You can do that by leaving ratings and reviews. I'll be reading reviews on Friday. It's one of the best parts of the week. So if you haven't done it yet, it really helps the show. If you leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, just search for Canary Cry News Talk and leave a rating and a review. It's very helpful. And another way we can harness those algorithms to take over the world. So please do that. Thank you very much. You can also create jingles, create music, create art. There's all sorts of ways to support the show with your time and your talent. So we appreciate that very much. If you make some sort of creative project related to the show, you can send that to canarycryradio@gmail.com if you like it easy, or canarycryradio@protonmail.com if you like your privacy. So there you go. Thank you very much. You can also... am I missing something? Oh, make sure to stick around after the show for the Canary Cry mixtape. All sorts of great music created by producers of the show, for the show, about the show, by the producers of the show. Remember, the Canary Cry Silver Giveaway is still going on for all of February. So if you want to get in on that, get your entries in by posting a social media post on your favorite social media, and go ahead and say something nice about the show. Leave hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, and drop a link to a Canary Cry News Talk episode or something like that. And if you want to doubly make sure that your post gets counted, go ahead and send a screenshot of that to our email address, canarycryradio@gmail.com or protonmail.com. And thank you very much to producer Erin Moffat. Check her out on YouTube, having scriptural conversations, eschatological conversations, as well as crypto and all sorts of other fun stuff. And lastly, you got friends, you got family. They're starting to wake up to the fact that the world is not what it seems. And, if you think that Canary Cry News Talk would help them along with that, we'd appreciate it if you just shared it with them. Word of mouth is the best way to spread your favorite podcast. And there you go. If you need any other instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that!
You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone!
Never! Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. And once again, we'll be circling back on Wednesday the 17th, probably somewhere around 10 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. So put it on your calendars. Make sure to turn on notifications, and we will see you then on Wednesday. And also, remember, all these shows are available after the live broadcast on the YouTube and the Twitch, but as well as the RSS feed. Make sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player. Just search Canary Cry News Talk. Gons, any last words?
Jesus loves you, and you should all thank God for that.
Okay, there you go. Good advice.
Yep.
Okay, folks, thanks for tuning in to this episode. Make sure to circle back on Wednesday. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
It will kill.
Look it up.
You can't handle the truth! Stop this progress before it is too late!
It is a circle.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up.
Leave the bird alone!
I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
As they expose Babylon, there's a line drawn in
That's where I started.
Light up a huge blunt.
A joint.
Give everybody
magic
mushrooms. Smoke. The CIA, I mean, lots of intelligence agencies have tested secretly dosing communities. LSD.
Psychoactive pills should be covertly administered.
Just put me on some, I don't know.
You get shot in the butt.
Fluoride, oxytocin, get a chemical hug.
I did dabble, some of that robot crack. I know what it's like.
It's a lethal recipe for disaster. You need help.
If you're a pharmacist, you need to repent.
All right,
don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick. Tick. Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic. Politic. Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politician. Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all away.
Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick. Tick. Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politician. Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way.
Left wing. Right wing. 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 Left wing. Right wing.
Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Same bird.
Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. 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 Don't let them drain you all the way.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on. People's zoo.